inclusion, we're going to be asking, should that sort of education be taught in the classroom?
Dad, unfortunately, had to lose his life before the police took any action.
The daughter of murdered dog walker Bim Coley says his death could have been prevented, blaming a series of police failures.
Sam Holland, the celebrity chef and brother of the Hollywood actor Tom Holland, is going to join us on the programme later on to give us tips on how to take the stress out of Christmas cooking and stir up some festive cheer.
And sport this morning, VAR. The dreaded VAR will have even more power at next year's World Cup. Spurs manager Thomas Frank needs a win tonight to keep the booing fans at bay, and England get ready for the second test at the Gabbatoir.
Hello, good morning. After a very wet start to the week, there's drier weather to come through the rest of this week, but there's still a risk of showers. You can find out all the details with me a little later on.
Hello there, very good to have you on board. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Just seen a really scary story in the papers today. There are almost 1 million under fives on social media in the UK. So babies on social media like TikTok and Instagram. How scary is that?
Can you, you type stuff, you take photographs, you put them through. Will all under fives know how to post things?
Apparently so.
Really?
Well, apparently they can scroll. So they can't even read yet, a lot of these children. Not even able to read a book, but they can scroll through a TikTok.
So they're just looking at probably their parents?
Looking at the pictures and videos, yeah.
Wow.
I think we've seen the best years, really.
I think we have seen the best years.
Yeah, very scary.
If you've got a view on that, let us know this morning. Get in touch. And throughout the whole programme, have your say. That's what we want you to do. Thank you for joining us, whether it's on radio or television or online. Our top story this morning is this.
The Chancellor clings to power as the OBR chief resigns less than a week after the budget.
Now, his name is Richard Hughes, and he said in his resignation letter that he wants to ensure the OBR gets the chance to quickly move on from what he terms this regrettable incident.
Well, it comes after the fiscal watchdog published a report urging an immediate change to its leadership. It's after it mistakenly released an analysis of the budget too early.
Well, the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, accused the Chancellor of using Mr Hughes as a human shield, and she called on Rachel Reeves to resign.
Next question is, how long will the Chancellor last now, and will she be forced to go next?
Well, joining us in the studio, news editor for the Press Association, we say hello, good morning to Theo Usherwood.
Very good
morning. Would you want to be Rachel Reeves this morning?
No. That's the short answer. The longer answer is, of course, she's under immense pressure in the job. There is, as you were rightly just saying, there are more calls for her and the Treasury to release documents, more documents about correspondence between her and Richard Hughes, the former chairman now of the Office of Budget Responsibility. I was covering this story yesterday with our team at Press Association. It was obvious when that report dropped, that investigation dropped into how this information, this analysis of the budget was released half an hour, it's about 45 minutes early, onto the web, that Richard Hughes had to go. It was described as the worst failure in the 15 years of the OBR. And what's more, it wasn't the first time this had happened. It happened with the March
So they've got a history of it, have they?
Yeah, they weren't on top of, the detail. There has to be a secure way. It's inexcusable for there not to be a secure way to produce documents so they're ready to go at a particular time, so everybody, like in Westminster and in the media, can get hold of them very, very quickly. And the fact that they got this wrong meant that it was inevitable that Richard Hughes had to go. But Kemi Badenoch has made the point that one resignation with Richard Hughes, that's one point, but ultimate responsibility for where we find ourselves with this budget is quite another. And of course, the Conservatives and Reform are making, raising legitimate questions about why viewers at GB News, people right across the country, are facing higher taxes when the justification for those higher taxes to pay for welfare, which that's £26 billion in the taxes have gone up. The justification now appears, given that letter that was released on Friday by the OBR, doesn't seem to be holding true. And those questions for Rachel Reeves, I'm not sure are going to go away.
Do you think she can survive this?
Well, it's always difficult to make these kind of predictions. She's in a really difficult situation, and I think it will depend whether she survives. Will depend on whether there are release of further documents. Interestingly, Richard Hughes was due to give evidence today before MPs. He's not going to be part of that, but Treasury Select Committee is still going to be investigating this. And I think it will come down to whether we see the release of further documents and ultimately, will the Cabinet, will Labour MPs be prepared to rally round the Chancellor? Because they may come to the conclusion that if the Chancellor is to go, then that would have a significant knock-on impact on Keir Starmer's own premiership and weaken the Labour government to the point where it would be very difficult to turn things around. And things are already very difficult to turn around for Keir Starmer.
Can we talk about another big story today, which is David Lammy, the Justice Secretary. He's doing a media round today. He's also written for The Telegraph, and it's about scrapping of jury trials. He says courts cannot cling on to jury trials for the sake of tradition. Tell us a bit more about what he's been speaking about.
Yes, so we have one of the oldest and most austere, traditional, and I think we have a justice system to be proud of in this country, and you have a right to be tried if you are facing charges, whatever those charges might be. You have the right to be tried by 12 men or women in a court. And David Lammy has pointed to the fact that there is a significant backlog. The Ministry of Justice have said that we could have court delays now between now and 2030, people waiting for their trials to go ahead. But also, I think, and this is a fair point from the Justice Secretary, victims of crimes waiting for those accused to be tried, and I think and to get justice. And David Lammy is looking. He's going for the nuclear option with this, and that is to say, well, actually, in all but the most serious cases, let's go for a model which was recommended by Sir Brian Leveson, which is akin to what happens in Canada, where you have a judge and then an intermediate court, where you have a judge and then two lay members sitting on a bench and sitting at the bench and then presiding over cases which aren't the most serious, but keeping jury trials for indictable offences like murder.
He's written in the Times today, he's been interviewed in the Times today, Theo. He says, I don't want to scrap juries, this is about saving them. And he does highlight this point. If something awful happened to you and me and it went to court and we were told, we'll hear that case in 3 years' time. Yeah. How ridiculous.
Yeah, and the justice and the justification is the justice system is received. The judiciary has received underinvestment. The courts have received underinvestment going back years with austerity, and therefore we have a system now which is creaking at the seams. And it would be if we ended up as a defendant in court waiting 3 years, or we might end up on remand, we might end up in prison for a crime that ultimately we found not to have committed. Yeah. Then we would be, that would be justice. Denied for us. But it was also, you're going to have cases where you have victims of very, of serious crimes. We're not, if you look at this, there are, the most serious charges are going to be reserved, so they do have juries. But still, there are going to be charges where people, are going to go before a single member of the judiciary, and that they're going to preside over the case. And the point is that if you're a victim of a crime, then you're not getting justice either. And you're having to wait, and you're having to live with that suspense about whether the person who has committed an awful act against you is actually going to go to prison. And I think what the Justice Secretary, Lord Chancellor, is saying is, well, hang on a moment, can we speed up this system? But it is getting rid of some fundamental principles in the process.
It is. Theo, thank you very much indeed. 6:10 is the time. Theo will be joining us again after 7 o'clock. Please do have your say about all of this. Let's now speak to human rights lawyer Mahtab Aziz about all of this and what Lammy is trying to do to the jury system. What do you think, Mahtab?
Good morning, Eamonn and Ellie. Thank you for having me on your show. Well, I think this proposed change to the jury system ultimately, I think, will actually do damage because it's been rather, I'm sure a defendant would rather have 12 independent people judging the case than a single judge with 2 lay magistrates. Although I have to say that there are pros and cons on both sides, but ultimately, in an ideal world, the jury system should prevail.
Yeah, but my friend, how do you get rid of the backlog that we have been talking about? The fact that you could have to wait 2 years before your case came to court, the fact there are 80,000 cases in England alone backlogged.
That's certainly one of the arguments that's proposed for having this change, and it is actually there is a very viable argument for that. I mean, the process itself, if it's dragged on for a year or 2 years, affects the defendant, mentally, amongst other things. They get stressed out, and therefore, in that respect, a faster, more efficient, way of dealing with it would certainly be welcome.
Does it need to just become more efficient, though? Do courts, for example, just need to sit for longer? They have very short days at the moment.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, well, it depends. You see, I mean, for instance, say in certain courts in London, like Southwark or Snaresbrook, you've got like a two-year wait. And I think this is the problem, that there is a significant backlog, and it is, envisaged that this new system may get rid of that backlog.
OK. Mahtab Aziz, thank you very much indeed. We want to ask people watching at home and listening as well to have their say on this. Have you ever served on a jury?
No, I'd like to, though.
Would you?
Yeah. I think it would be fascinating. But my sister's served on a jury twice now, hated it, and actually found herself to be really out of pocket because she wasn't able to work for 2-3 weeks. Yeah. I think they give you something like your expenses. Mm-hmm. So she had £12 a day, which was to cover her travel and her lunch. So she said, I actually ended up paying to be a juror for those 2-3 weeks. Yeah,
well, I'm sure she's not unusual, as Tom Jones would say, and on that front. So let us know if it's an experience you have your say, and we will reflect that later in the programme.
There is, of course, a new way of getting in touch with us. You can become a friend of GB News for free, and if you do that, you can take part in our You Decide poll. All you need to do is scan the QR code on your screens now. Just take your phone up to the screen, take a picture of that, and it will lead you to our question today, our poll, which is...
on juries, yeah. And is scrapping juries a price worth paying for quicker justice, for swift justice, as opposed to an 80,000 case
and waiting 2
backlog
years
and waiting 2 years?
But then you are judged by your peers. So let us know what you think, yes or no.
I think people really do get their knickers in a twist about this. Well,
of course, it's already happening in Northern Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't really see what the issue is. Why do you need 12 people there deciding on who's right or wrong? I just don't get motivated by that. I just think, judge, yes, no, guilty, innocent, don't do. Just get going, clear it. Well, is it really such a big deal? Does it matter to any of our lives? Get it sorted.
Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
Now, the weather today, it was windy and cold out there.
It's
and there's
chucking
been
it down, I think.
A lot of rain
all week.
About, yeah. Let's see how long that rain is going to last. Annie Shuttleworth.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, although today will be a drier day, there's still a fair few blustery showers on the way for many western areas. Some sunshine in between, and we've got off to a pretty bright start across the east, and there will be more sunshine on the way for many eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see a plethora of showers moving in from the Atlantic. Some of these will really pack a punch, bringing a risk of hail and thunder, particularly to the south and west. But notice some very heavy showers across the northwest too. Now, temperatures are a degree or so cooler than yesterday, but it will feel that much more pleasant, particularly in any sheltered sunshine across the east. Now, the winds will be quite strong, particularly across northwestern areas close to this small area of low pressure. So that brings an unsettled evening to parts of the Highlands and the Western Isles in particular, where we'll continue to see these showers moving in through this evening. Eastern areas of Scotland, the central belt, seeing plenty of dry weather, some clearer skies developing through this evening, as well as across Northern Ireland. The temperatures will start to fall away. Still quite a lot of cloud around for many central and southern areas of England and Wales, and a number of showers still yet to move through on Tuesday evening. They could come further inland across eastern areas for a time, but overnight tonight it will become clearer and drier for many areas. There will still be a number of showers, particularly across coastal areas, western coasts of the UK. So here there'll be more cloud, will be frost-free, but inland sheltered areas could see a touch of frost by Wednesday morning. So a cooler start to the day on Wednesday than today, but more in the way of sunshine to come. A fairly settled day actually for eastern areas. A very different story though for northern Scotland, where this rain will turn to snow over the highest ground. Further south, a mixture of sunshine and showers, particularly across the west, but more in the way of drier weather to come on Wednesday compared to today. And as a result, temperatures will climb to the double digits, 10 or 11 degrees across southwestern areas. See you soon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, at 17 minutes past 6, the daughter of murdered dog walker Bim Coley has been speaking out, claiming that her father's death could have been prevented. Jack Carson is going to have the story for us next.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
The daughter of a dog walker who was attacked by teenagers in a park last year says there were multiple police failures leading up to his death.
Yes, Bim Coley was 80 when he was killed while walking his dog in Leicester last September.
A 15-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl were both found guilty of manslaughter and were sentenced in June.
Well, our national reporter Jack Carson has the story.
My dad, unfortunately, had to lose his life before the police took any action.
In September last year, Bim Coley walked his dog into Franklin Park in Braunstone, Leicester. He would never come home. Kicked and punched by a 15-year-old boy, whilst a 13-year-old girl laughed and filmed the attack on her phone, Mr. Coley sustained fractured ribs and a spinal cord injury and died 24 hours later. Now his daughter Susan says failures by Leicestershire police in the months leading up to his death mean it could have been avoided. A pattern of antisocial behaviour began in June 2024, when youths climbed onto a neighbour's garage roof. In July, the harassment escalated, when youths spat at Mr. Coley outside his home. In August, another man was attacked in the park. Susan and her father caught youths throwing stones at the victim, subjecting him to racial abuse and spitting at him. The suspects were identified within 2 days, but no arrests were made until after Bim Coley's death, 17 days later.
They chose to just sit on it and not take the action that they should have when they identified 2 youths causing trouble. When you put a police presence in the area, that puts a deterrent in place because it moves that behaviour on.
The force's own guidance says arrests should be made at the earliest practical opportunity, but the investigating officer blamed workload and a bank holiday. The loss of her father lives with Susan every day, but she believes the attack on him could have happened to anyone.
There's not a day that goes past that we think about it, especially with what happened, because it is a constant reminder for us because of where it happened, virtually on our doorstep, yards from where we live. This might not have been my dad that lost his life. It might have been that guy on the 17th of August. He could have been seriously assaulted if me and my dad did not intervene.
The IOPC investigation concluded there were no missed opportunities and found no individual misconduct. In a statement, Leicestershire Police said, "We only became aware of the full extent of the antisocial behaviour in the area following Mr. Coley's death as a result of the extensive major crime investigation. Although there were some reported incidents of antisocial behaviour in the area, there were no offenders consistently involved and therefore no evidence of a pattern of behaviour prior to Mr. Coley's death. But Susan says accountability must be taken."
People can only learn when you take accountability. It's accepting what went wrong and making that change to ensure it doesn't happen again.
The tragic death of Bim Coley shocked his community and the country. Now his daughter Susan is determined to fight on in his memory. Jack Carson, GB News, Leicester.
Just such a horrific story, isn't it? Just awful.
And I just wonder how they're only charged with manslaughter. What goes out there, the victimisation. And you sit and you look at these young kids and you think, what the heck goes on in their life that they want to attack an elderly man like that? Really, really disgusting, really awful. And our condolences to Mr. Coley's family with that. You've got to say, give it to us, have your say, and we will reflect that on the programme. Coming up to 25 minutes past 6 on this Tuesday morning, and it's time now for our daily reflection.
Day 2.
My name is Nimsa Bunge, and I'm the pastor of Freedom's Ark, a member of the Evangelical Alliance here in the Tottenham Town Hall. Advent begins with a joyful proclamation, "Behold, your King is coming to you." It's an announcement filled with anticipation. Just as people once prepared for Jesus' arrival in Jerusalem, we prepare our hearts for a season of hope, light, and renewal. At a time when many feel tired and uncertain, this message lifts our spirit. Something good is on the way. The new arrival isn't about perfection is about making room. Many communities find during Advent that the smallest acts of warmth or patience opens the door to renewed joy. Even when life feels cluttered or heavy, a little space for hope can make all the difference. The season encourages us to carry joy gently, to let it rise even in challenging times. Advent whispers that better things are possible, that we're not alone, and that light breaks through. Let us pray. God of hope, as Advent begins, fill our hearts with expectation. Lighten our steps, lift our spirits, and help us to welcome joy in all our days. Amen.
And that's day 2 of the GB News Advent calendar.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
2nd of December today, which is good. And I'm glad to see that you're in the Christmas mood.
Oh, yes.
Let me see now, just look very, very...
Got my little pearls on and my red dress. I thought I'd match the studio.
But is this something you would make? I mean, or did you did you add these pearls on? Or?
No, this is just the way it comes. But the studio looked so festive yesterday and Christmassy. I thought I'm going to try and match the studio. So I went to... I've got a wardrobe for my work dresses and they're colour-coded. So I went to the red section and then I found the one with pearls and I said, perfect.
Very good.
Perfect for the studio. So there you go.
It's going to be a
Part
long
of my planning.
December.
It's going to be a long December. I don't know what I'm going to wear for the other 23 days.
We'll just go to your colour-coded section.
I don't think I've got enough, but anyway. Starts we mean to go on. 'Tis the season and all that.
Well, you'll have enough if you enter and win our Great British Giveaway.
Yep, your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date, £85,000. And the best part is it's tax-free as well. Here are all of the details that you need.
It's the greatest cash prize of the Great British Giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes,
OK, that's good. Good luck. And if you're out in the roads, we wish you good luck as well. Here's how they're shaping up on this Tuesday morning.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers on the M90 should expect significant delays in both directions due to planned maintenance between Junction 8 and Junction 9. Emergency works are causing disruptions on the A487 near Corris Uchaf. In Bedfordshire, a broken-down vehicle on the M1 northbound exit slip at Junction 13 is causing lane closures, but normal traffic conditions are anticipated soon. On the trains, Avanti West Coast warns that poor weather may impact your journey, and Great Western Railway is experiencing disruptions between Portsmouth and Southsea and Portsmouth Harbour. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us. We're going to be going through all of the sport with Paul Coit next.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello, everyone. Patrick Christie is here. GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mr. Paul joins us and you now for the sport news and the dreaded VAR at the World Cup.
Oh, yes. So how do we feel about VAR generally? Get rid of it?
Look, we all cried to get it, right? And
we did.
There's too many mistakes and
That's
all that
right.
sort of thing. But it has taken away the integrity, the vivaciousness, the just this is how would I describe it?
It's time. It takes away the passion. It takes away the excitement because it's a passion killer, isn't it? That's what it is.
That was a goal. No, it wasn't. Just
yeah. It's like you cheer. Oh no, hang on. You'll have to wait a second.
Yeah, the
maybe
delay
wait a bit longer.
Yeah.
And then you can cheer. Well,
so
it's going to be more.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan either. And I was always someone that said it's a good idea as long as the people who are looking after it do it right and keep it quick.
Yeah.
If it's quick and instantaneous, I can't see there's a problem.
You look at Wimbledon and what's the system they got? Eagle
and the cricket. Yeah.
Whatever.
Hawkeye.
Right. So they don't take 5 minutes before they say whether the ball was in or out.
That's right.
So what's the delay here?
Because it's subjective and it's like, is it? Look, what VAR... So now the latest with the World Cup, FIFA are going to be particularly careful that no decisions are made wrong, which then takes the excitement out of the game. So they've given special dispensation, I love that phrase, special dispensation, to allow VAR to have extra powers. Temporary, on a trial basis. This is the World Cup. This is the biggest football tournament in the world, and they're having a trial there. At it. So anyway...
Would they have caught Maradona, hand of God?
Do you think so? They'll probably go, actually, let's have a look at it again. Let's have a look. From a different angle, it looks like it's his head. It would have taken about half an hour. They will intervene if they believe a corner has been awarded incorrectly. We've seen that a few times. But this is it. I don't have a problem with that, as long as it's quick.
Yeah.
They just go, look, then we can see,
Can they speed up the process at all?
They should be able to. They should.
I think what Paul's saying is everybody's frightened stiff of the consequences of something.
That's why they take so long
to deliberate.
So there should be the original rule was clear and obvious, and so if you can't make your decision in 30 seconds, then it's not clear and obvious, but these things go on forever. So they'll also review second yellow cards to confirm sending offs. So there's another one. It's like, actually, we can have another look at that now. Now, this is something at the... Also, they're trying something at the FIFA Arab Cup. And here's another trial. And they're talking about a new rule. See what you think about this. Aimed at cracking down on players feigning injury when you get all of a sudden...
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, no, I'm going to waste some time and roll around. Now, a player...
How can you tell?
I think you can tell when they're acting.
Well, you know bad actors, don't you?
Yeah.
You can tell when an actor's bad.
That's
But this is how they're going to try this. They say a player... So at first I thought, a player who receives treatment has to then leave the pitch for 2 minutes. So if you get treatment, then you've got to go off for 2 minutes.
Right.
So they're saying that if you roll around, you're obviously injured, you're going to be out of the game for 2 minutes. Which then, if you are injured, is that really fair? But they say unless you are the victim of a foul where a red or yellow card is given.
Oh, it's very complicated.
Why complicated? You know, you think, you know, it is very complicated, but why even need to do that?
I think try the push test. So if they go, oh, my leg, go, does that hurt? Yes. And if they go like that, they go, OK, that's fine.
Yeah.
And if they go, what? Then it's just something I'm working on.
No, it's good. It's the reverse of the magic sponge.
It's exactly the reverse of the magic sponge. Yeah. And also another radical idea they're trying with as well is that if there's a penalty in the game, if the penalty's saved, then you're not allowed to follow up and knock it in.
Oh, nonsense.
It's a dead ball, just like in a penalty shootout.
So wait a minute. If you're in goals, I take the penalty.
Yep.
You save it.
Yep. Pushed it out back to you.
I could get the rebound. You're saying I've got to stand and say, Ellie, you know...
all that stuff, yeah.
But she could score it.
No, nobody can.
The ball's dead.
The ball is dead. Once the penalty's taken, if the goalkeeper saves it,
that's so many
the
good
ball
goals,
is then dead, and then they continue because they say you've got a big advantage as it is to take a penalty. I think it's nonsense as well.
Nonsense.
It's like what they do in a penalty shootout. I think that's absolute
nonsense.
I think cobblers is the word we're looking for. That's absolutely nonsense.
No, you've put us in bad mood now.
Yeah, I really didn't want to.
Make us look forward to tonight. There's lots of...
Ellie said cheer us up, and now you've just come and depressed everybody this morning.
Well, Spurs are playing away at Newcastle tonight.
How are you feeling about that?
Oh, dear. See, if there is a crisis at Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle are on exactly the same points as Spurs, and there doesn't seem to be a crisis there at the moment. But the thing at Spurs is the problem with the crowd, and this is what the manager, Thomas Frank, has said. Now, during the game...
So the crowd booing.
Yeah.
Doubting Thomas.
Well, there you go. They are doubting Thomas.
Yeah, they are doubting.
And instead of him being a doubting Thomas. Now, obviously, we don't like booing your own team, which is not a good thing. It doesn't help the team. But... also, I think people that go to football, that spend a lot of money to watch football, should be able to react any way they want. It doesn't help, but you can't say you can't do that. Do you see what I mean? It's a really difficult and it's a fine line.
It doesn't not help. I mean, how do you have anything in common in relation to somebody on 300,000 quid a week, right? And you don't feel that they're, you know, pulling their weight. You can. What is wrong with actually booing or thumbs down or whatever, getting that through to the team?
I think we spoke earlier, and you said it's entertainment for someone to go. It's probably a lot more than that. But Thomas Frank branded the booers, the naysayers. This is after Guillermo Vicario pretty much gave a goal away. It was the second goal against Fulham when he ran out and dribbled it and didn't get rid of it. Bless you. So basically he said, you know, they're not true Spurs fans. Pedro Porro, the defender, went on Instagram, said, I will not tolerate hearing disrespect from the fan to my teammates, to the true Spurs fan. I love you. How can you say what is a true fan? It's so difficult to be able to tell.
Yeah, if you have a prod sandwich, apparently you're not a true fan.
Well, have a little look. This is what Thomas Frank had to say. This is yesterday after he was picked up on what he said at the weekend.
I'm just saying what I think. I'm like, can't say it enough. We have some fantastic fans. We're nothing without the fans. We need them, every aspect. And they are very much allowed to be disappointed, no problem. I'm just saying when you play a match at home, it is not as helpful as it is when they can see they're driving the team forward, for example. And of course, it's up to us to do everything we can to perform. So it's just going hand in hand. But the beautiful thing about football and life is never straightforward.
Tricky business. Fulham play Man City tonight, Bournemouth against Everton, and a full Premier League programme right the way across the week. And there'll be more tomorrow as well.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed.
Now, do stay with us. We're going to be going through the papers with Chloe Dobbs and David Wooding. That's up next. Morning, you two. See you in just a second.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. If you're planning on escaping the rain this week, well, unfortunately, there's still some rain affecting the parts of the Mediterranean. High pressure, though, in the Canaries, bringing plenty of dry weather to Madeira, 17 degrees here. Plenty of dry weather also across Spain and Portugal, as well as southern areas of France. However, this wet weather is still moving into parts of Greece, bringing some showers to Santorini through the rest of this week. Looking elsewhere, it does look drier and warmer by the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, you compound that with the fact that across a lot of industries, AI is wiping out jobs at that entry-level stage. Like take lawyers, for example. Pretty much any job that any lawyer up to about 8 years experience can do can now be done by AI. Same goes across a lot of services. You know, there will always be bartenders, or at least until robotics takes that as well. But you compound these things, and I really do fear for the next generation of young people and the sense of purpose that they're potentially not going to have by just not having jobs.
But the minimum wage is rising for everyone, isn't it? It's because if you are going to employ people, it'll still be cheaper to employ 18 to 20-year-olds, won't it? Because they're still going to get paid less than other people. So I don't see why that's going to curb jobs for them. People still need to hire people. People still need people to do jobs.
Yeah, it's very difficult, though. I own a small business. I employ people. And it is difficult, you know, and this is why things like the black market are being so easily fed, especially with asylum sneakers hanging about.
Asylum sneakers?
Yes, that's what we call them now.
Yeah, we announced that yesterday.
Adidas Asylum.
That's what we.
That's what I call
they are
now. I got a new brand. They wear refugees. But but this is.
You not get the email about that?
I didn't.
By the way, the more you put the wages up, it just gets passed on to the customer. Well, if the customer can't afford to pay it because Rachel Reeves is taxing them, because the minimum wage has gone up and the business national insurance has gone up, we just hit a stalemate. This is what we've got. It's like the whole economy turns into moss.
Yeah, well, just sorry, we don't have to whiz ourselves on, but on that note of everything else going up, food prices are apparently predicted to grow after the budget taxes as well. So for all this talk about you paying people more, well, if everything else costs more, then it doesn't really go anywhere, does it?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
We're delighted to welcome into the studio to discuss the stories in the papers. Political commentator Chloe Dobbs and David Wooding, who is a man of many, many talents.
Morning, you two.
Now, listen, something that really affects me, Chloe, is shrinkflation, right? It's everywhere, and we don't pay any less for anything. It's just ridiculous, and it just takes the fun out of eating for me.
Oh, because everything's getting smaller.
Everything. Now, if you're sitting down to breakfast today and you're going to have a cereal, Chloe, why could that be bad news?
Well, you can be paying the same for a smaller box of cereal.
Yeah.
So some of the Kellogg's cereals, the box was 500 grams. It's now gone down to 460 grams and costs the same amount. And so many different products, you're seeing this, where they'll reduce it, even if it's just by 10 grams. It helps them over the margins, save a lot of money, and they hope that none of us will notice. But you might notice when you buy a chocolate bar now that half of the packet is empty and it's just air there.
Crisps the same. You put your hand in crisps and
You're singing around there with the crisps.
And the other thing, chocolates for Christmas.
Yeah, the selection.
So Quality Streets, they have reduced the size of the box, and in many shops the price has actually increased, and that goes for a lot of products. I've been looking, and it's not just food. It's things like the Gaviscon heartburn medicine. They've reduced the size of the bottle, hoping you won't notice, whilst keeping the price the same or increasing it. It's almost everything.
I went in a supermarket the other day, and you know we buy the fruit in pre-packed fruit, and there's like a cardboard tray with 4 nectarines in with the cellophane around it. I buy them regularly. I like them, and I picked them up. And I got to the checkout, and I found there was only 3, and I thought, oh, I've picked one with 1 missing. So I went all the way back to the display, and they all had 3 in. So they've clearly it's the same size packaging, but there were only 3.
It's constant, and I think that food inflation is something that has really hit households over the past few years.
It's the most noticeable thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
when we avoid it.
Yeah, when we had double-figure inflation whilst the Tories were still in, the thing that was really going up and up like crazy was food inflation. And although it's not quite as high, the inflation rate, as it was then, it's still going up and up and up. And I feel like every time I go to the supermarket, and it doesn't have to be Waitrose, even if it's just a Lidl or Tesco or whatever, you just buy a few snacks for the day and suddenly, 30 quid,
Well, I think food inflation is still at 5% or thereabouts. And it's the everyday items. I mean, I notice it on cheese, on butter and oil. I mean, all of those things got so expensive.
And it's the poorest households that this really affects, because they spend a really big proportion of their income on food. And when you have got a family to feed, you've not just got yourself to think about. That's really stressful for people. And also the quality of the food will start going down, because what they do is they will get rid of some of the good ingredients in the food and replace it for cheaper ingredients. So, for example, peanut butter, replacing a lot of the peanuts with palm oil and lots of other processed rubbish that doesn't belong in our bodies.
For us, palm oil and all these different oils.
But it's already happening with chocolate, isn't it?
Or they get rid of the product altogether, gone. Now, my life hasn't been the same the past couple of years because, and I'm going to say something you probably won't even notice it's gone, right? What? Rice Krispies, right? Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
And the really excellent version of Rice Krispies are Ricicles. We all love rice. What are you looking at?
Where'd you get Ricicles?
Yeah, Ricicles. Yes, I remember Ricicles.
Sugar version of Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Frosties are the sugar version of cornflakes.
And where would you get Ricicles from?
So you don't
I've never heard of Ricicles.
Oh my!
They're Twicicles as Nicicles.
Exactly, they are.
We all like Ricicles. They're Twicicles as Nicicles.
Ricicles.
I'm sure Rachel Reeves will be slapping a big sugar tax on those soon. It'll be double the price.
But I just find it amazing that.
When did Ricicles go?
Probably about 2 years ago. Gone.
Oh. I never even knew they existed. They sound great, though. I love Frosties.
Well, they used to have like little pixies on the front of the box, didn't they? I had Ricicles.
Should we stay on the food theme, David, and a festive theme as well? How to slash your big Christmas food shop.
Well, this is a feature in The Sun. They reckon the way to cut your bill is to shop backwards. What they mean is when you go into stores, you invariably get the offers and the big items at the front of the store. So you fill up your trolley with these. And as you go into the store, you find things that you really need. So you end up spending more.
I would say this works. This works in me.
It's a good theory.
So you go up that first aisle and you go, oh, I know what that is. Oh, that's nice. That's good. Oh, that looks different. You never set out to get these things that are essential to your life or whatever, but they are nice treats, by and large.
Yeah, it's product placement, effectively. So go around the store once and find what you need, and then you can go back to the start of the store.
Well, a lot of shops, what they do is they'll put, so you'll see this, let's say in a clothes shop window display, they'll put some really expensive items in the front, because psychologically it then means when you see items that are cheaper when you go in, you think it's a really good deal. Even if they rarely sell any of those expensive items, it's just a psychological trick. I think also having a list before you go to the supermarket.
I was going to say
it makes a big difference. It stops you from and make sure you go in with a full stomach before you go, because if you go in ravenously hungry, you'll be grabbing all of the Christmas chocolates
you've got
and goodies.
all the good tips. David, let's have a look at this story, staying festive themed this morning. Page 18 of the Express today. What is the nation's favourite festive film?
Yes. Well, apparently the favourite film, according to the Express, is Home Alone.
I think it's a great choice.
But I mean, it's one of these things we all talk about at Christmas. We have an argument. My favourite one, and there's an argument about whether this is a Christmas film or not, is Die Hard.
It's not a Christmas film.
There's snow in it.
That doesn't count.
There's a Christmas tree at the beginning. It starts with a Christmas tree.
Oh, no.
And it gets you in the Christmas mood, but within a few minutes you've forgotten about Christmas, because
it's a good.
It's a great film, though, isn't it?
Good film. Not Christmas.
I would say The Bishop's Wife with Cary Grant and David Niven is. You see, you don't even know what it is.
No, I don't.
No, it's got lots of snow, and Cary Grant is an angel that comes down and falls in love with the bishop's wife, but he knows if he consummates it in any way, he can't be an angel anymore.
Oh, I haven't watched. I'm more of a board games person at Christmas.
Really?
I love a good
Very
game.
wholesome.
We're very competitive in my family, and we will rip each other's heads off over a Monopoly game or an Uno
So you've
game.
never watched It's a Wonderful Life, for instance, James Stewart?
Well, that comes
I'm not
third.
sure I have.
That comes third in this poll, The Wonderful
I've
Life.
never seen that, and I really want to.
Treat. Mary, marry me, Mary.
We should sit down and watch it, Chloe.
Yes.
Because I haven't seen it either.
Girls'
Yeah,
movie night.
I only, to be honest, I only watched it recently, a few years ago, when I'd switched the TV on and stumbled across it. And my wife said, "You've not seen that?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, I'm going to watch this." And it's a good film.
Yeah.
It's an old film. I think probably people don't watch that because it's black and white.
Yeah,
but it is a great
film.
film.
A colorised version, which I wouldn't be so keen on, but I do find it interesting that young people, of which I'll include you too, simply do not watch anything black and white. Would you have an aversion to black and whiteness?
I wouldn't have an aversion to it, but I think just the stuff that's put in front of us, the stuff that we see pushed on our Netflix algorithms and whatnot, we just don't really get that.
Yeah. Well, I like Love Actually. That's
Yes.
a good one. And The Holiday.
The Holiday, that's the one where they swap houses.
That's quite a good one. With Cameron Diaz. Anyway, let us know your favourite festive film, gbnews.com/yoursay. We should probably do some serious stories as well, shouldn't we? So, David, this one caught my eye this morning. The Daily Express as well. Britain's asylum capital. 1 in 3 children there don't speak English as a first language.
Yes, there's 28.8% of the population of students in Glasgow schools don't speak English as their first language. Now, you might say...
Almost 30%.
Yeah,
don't speak English as
that's a lot.
Wow.
It's a hell of a lot.
I don't see that so much as an indictment on them. It's a worry for teachers. How do teachers cope with that? What sort of teacher have you to get that can teach those children?
Yeah, and the other thing, the knock-on effect from that, Eamonn, is that the other students who can speak English are being held back because teachers are putting a lot of effort into teaching those who can't speak English.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a symptom of an immigration system that is just way too overrun. It is clear when you've got nearly a third of students in school in Glasgow not having English as their first language that we have had record high immigration at a level that is making it quite difficult for people to integrate. And as you say, quite difficult for the teachers and the other students in school. And I think it's really important that we're very clear in this country that if you come here, it is your absolute top priority that you learn English, especially if you have children, that is your top priority, because there are an increasing number of people who have come to this country and now they can just go and live in a community where everyone else is from their country and they don't have to make an effort to speak English.
OK.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to speaking again in 40 minutes. We'll be back after this, the weather update with Annie Shuttleworth.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, although today will be a drier day, there's still a fair few blustery showers on the way for many western areas. Some sunshine in between, and we've got off to a pretty bright start across the east, and there will be more sunshine on the way for many eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see a plethora of showers moving in from the Atlantic. Some of these will really pack a punch, bringing a risk of hail and thunder, particularly to the south and west. But notice some very heavy showers across the northwest too. Now, temperatures are a degree or so cooler than yesterday, but it will feel that much more pleasant, particularly in any sheltered sunshine across the east. Now, the winds will be quite strong, particularly across northwestern areas close to this small area of low pressure. So that brings an unsettled evening to parts of the Highlands and the Western Isles in particular, where we'll continue to see these showers moving in through this evening. Eastern areas of Scotland, the central belt, seeing plenty of dry weather, some clearer skies developing through this evening, as well as across Northern Ireland. The temperatures will start to fall away. Still quite a lot of cloud around for many central and southern areas of England and Wales, and a number of showers still yet to move through on Tuesday evening. They could come further inland across eastern areas for a time, but overnight tonight it will become clearer and drier for many areas. There will still be a number of showers, particularly across coastal areas, western coasts of the UK. So here there'll be more cloud, will be frost-free, but inland sheltered areas could see a touch of frost by Wednesday morning. So a cooler start to the day on Wednesday than today, but more in the way of sunshine to come. A fairly settled day actually for eastern areas. A very different story though for northern Scotland, where this rain will turn to snow over the highest ground. Further south, a mixture of sunshine and showers, particularly across the west, but more in the way of drier weather to come on Wednesday compared to today. And as a result, temperatures will climb to the double digits, 10 or 11 degrees across southwestern areas. See you soon.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for sharing over 5 million comments on Your Say, because when you talk, we listen.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. An incident in both directions of the A487 near Corris Uchaf involves emergency works, impacting travel times. In North Somerset, a broken-down vehicle is affecting the M5 southbound exit slip at junction 21, with one of 2 lanes closed. Normal traffic conditions are anticipated by 7:15 this morning. And on the trains, Great Western Railway is experiencing disruptions between Portsmouth and Southsea and Portsmouth Harbour. Additionally, London North Western Railway has buses replacing trains between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey. Stay informed to plan your journey accordingly. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping £85,000 in tax-free cash. The largest cash prize we've given away to date. That's like over £7,000 a month extra in your bank account each month for 12 whole months. That's a year of yes. Yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to shopping trips, yes to home improvements. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates,
lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hello there, a very good morning to you. The Chancellor clings to power as OBR chief resigns on the budget link error branded the worst failure in the organisation's history.
Well, amid the fallout, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch is accusing the Chancellor of using Richard Hughes as a human shield.
Fact is, this is now turned into a political crisis for the Prime Minister and his Chancellor. This is a classic example of do as I say, not do as I do.
There are now demands for the release of all correspondence now between the Chancellor and Mr Hughes.
Elsewhere, the Justice Secretary David Lammy will today set out plans to scrap thousands of jury trials. He argues that courts cannot cling to juries purely for the sake of tradition.
Everything I'm announcing today is about centering victims in our criminal justice system.
Teachers in England urge schools to take more active steps on LGBT plus inclusion. We'll be asking, should LGBT education be actually taught in classrooms or not?
Dad, unfortunately, had to lose his life before the police took any action.
The daughter of murdered dog walker Bim Coley says his death could have been prevented, blaming a series of police failures.
Sam Holland is a celebrity chef, but he's also the brother of the movie actor Tom Holland, Spider-Man. And he'll join us to give us tips on how to make spiders and webs, how to take the stress out of Christmas and stir up some festive cheer whilst you are cooking.
Sport this morning, well, here's some festive cheer. VAR will have even more power at next year's World Cup. Spurs manager Thomas Frank really need to win tonight at Newcastle to keep the booing fans at bay, and England get ready for the second test at a place they call the Gabbatoir.
Hello, good morning. After a very wet start to the week, there's drier weather to come through the rest of this week, but there's still a risk of showers. You can find out all the details with me a little later on.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Tuesday morning. Thank you for watching and listening. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
We are waiting any moment now for the average house price figures over the country. So if you're in the market of buying or selling, you'll want to know what those are. And a financial stability report coming out from the Bank of England, which we will bring you when that is released.
Yep, we certainly will. Now, we're talking about our favourite festive films. Quitty.
You said It's a Wonderful Life, didn't you?
He did.
Yeah,
or The Bishop's Wife.
Bishop's Wife. Like
Bishop's Wife is good.
He likes all the classics.
See, I watched an old black and white film with my daughter. You said about black and white films. Kids don't want to watch black and white films anymore. Film called Darling with Julie Christie. Do you ever see that? 65, no, yeah, classic old. No, but It's a Wonderful Life for me.
Aww,
I watched it once, many years ago, and I was trying a girlfriend years ago, and I thought, oh yeah, we'll watch It's a Wonderful Life. And I had no idea how sad it was, and I actually watched. This is true. I stared at the top above the TV for the last 20 minutes because I knew it was getting me a bit.
Oh,
She's like, I'm going, oh, don't worry, it's okay. And then I watched the rest, and I was in a terrible state. I haven't watched it since. It's lovely film.
It's all about appreciating people who are around you. You don't appreciate them until you get into James Stewart's position in the film, where he...
Merry
Yeah. And
he's like,
so basically, just be appreciative of people who are around you and realise how important they are to you.
You know, it's one of those happy tier films where it's not like,
It's moving.
You know what I really do like as well? Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's a good one. That's another good life
various
lesson.
ones. The 1950s version with Alistair Sim.
Is Albert Finney was in it? He did one.
He did a later
in the
one.
70s.
Yeah.
And then Michael Caine was in the Muppet Christmas Carol.
He was.
Which was still good, by the way.
Oh, I like the Muppet
Which is still
Carol.
good, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. That's good traditional work.
When is the best time to start watching your Christmas films? I would say now. Now is good.
Oh, you reckon?
No.
Yeah, you start now and you work your way up.
What, for 3 weeks?
Yep.
4 weeks?
Because I would count the Harry Potter films as really good Christmassy films.
That's
There's a good
sort of like
7
films
there.
you would get on at Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Like the
So,
Guns of Navarone.
We've
which would
already
always be on.
started. We've already started our Harry
which is-
Potters.
Which is not Christmas, Guns of Navarone, but I'm with you with John Wayne and the Searchers.
Yeah.
There is a snow scene in the Searchers, but it's mostly desert.
I remember when I was a kid, and you probably remember during the winter holidays, I remember they did Elvis films. Every morning, it was an Elvis, you know, it was one aroused about, Viva Las Vegas. Well, this is great, and still reminds you of Christmas. Every day an Elvis film, that's what you do again.
I'm a massive Elvis fan, you know, as an artist. I doubt that anybody could beat him, but those films are rubbish.
I know they're rubbish, but they're so enjoyable.
Are they?
Yes! I can't even go any higher than that.
Oh.
That's how excited I am, yeah.
Well, let's
you watch
know.
G.I. Blues one day, it'll be great.
Let us know your favourite festive film, gbnews.com/you'll say. And is it too early or is it just the right time to start watching your festive films? Let us know. Now to our top story this morning, and the Chancellor clings to power as the OBR chief resigns less than a week after the budget announcement.
Richard Hughes said in his resignation letter to Rachel Reeves and the chair of the Treasury Select Committee that he wants to ensure the OBR gets the chance to move quickly on from what he termed a regrettable incident.
Well, the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, has accused the Chancellor of using Mr Hughes as a human shield and called on Rachel Reeves to resign.
Joining us now in the studio, news editor for the Press Association, Theo Usherwood. The call is for her to resign. Theo, will she?
Not yet, but I think if you look at the way that this story is heading, the demands for further documents of correspondence to be released between Rachel Reeves and, of course, now the former chair of the OBR, Richard Hughes. If you point you also to the letter that Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, wrote to Sir Laurie Magnus, the Prime Minister's independent advisor on ministerial standards, calling for him to launch an investigation. And the crux of this story about whether the Chancellor misled, lied to the Cabinet, to the British public, when she gave a press conference at the beginning of last month, detailing, as she put it, the need to increase taxes because of the perilous state of the public finances, having already been told by the Office for Budget Responsibility in a letter at the end of October that actually inflation had led to higher tax receipts and that she had £4 billion worth of headroom. That is where I think Sir Laurie Magnus ultimately can look at this, and I think that is where Rachel Reeves is potentially vulnerable, because if there is to be an investigation and further documents that come out with correspondence between both the OBR and the Treasury, which makes it clear that only underscores the accusation that Rachel Reeves wasn't forthcoming with the truth when she was making the case, then that would be potentially a breach of the ministerial.
But what about Richard Hughes? OK, there was this link, this leak, which they say was an accidental leak off the budget. Was that survivable for him? Because it's been put out that he had a dire relationship with the Treasury, and they were wreaking revenge.
Yes, the reports are that Rachel Reeves and Richard Hughes just weren't on speaking terms towards the end of Mr Hughes's tenure. It was clear, if you listening to the interviews that the Chancellor was giving over the weekend, and she refused to say she had full confidence in Richard Hughes. You then heard the Prime Minister yesterday morning talking about just how serious a breach this was. And so when the report came out and it was describing the worst error in the worst in the 15-year history of the Office for Budget Responsibility, the fact that it had happened before, and that ultimately responsibility, according to the report that was conducted, lay with the leadership of the OBR, it was very difficult at that point to see how he could possibly survive in post.
Can we talk about another big story today, which was David Lammy, the Justice Secretary, talking about the scrapping of jury trials for most crimes, including or other than the most serious ones of murder, manslaughter and rape. He's saying we cannot cling on to jury trials for the sake of tradition. Tell us a bit more about what he's saying.
The David Lammy, Deputy Prime Minister as well, is making the case that actually if the government is to clear the backlog of cases within the court system, and some people are waiting, both the victims are waiting for justice until 2030 before the person who is accused of committing a crime against them actually gets their day in court. And to be fair to defendants, you've got potentially people on remand in prison awaiting their court date, having to wait, and they may well be acquitted of any wrongdoing. They're waiting to get their court date. And the Ministry of Justice, David Lammy, is making the argument that the only way to do this is to just get rid of juries and to put defendants in front of a judge and a couple of lay members. Now, it's worth saying that already for minor offences in the magistrates' court, this happens. We're talking about some quite serious offences here with prison terms of up to 5 years now not being heard in front of judges. And there are concerns from the likes of somebody like Toby Young, who is, of course, is director of the Free Speech Union, that actually, if you take cases around hate speech, for example, this is the argument that Lord Young is putting forward, that actually, in those cases, juries are much more likely to acquit somebody of an offence. But if you put that in front of a judge, then it's much more. Then it is more probable that somebody will receive a guilty verdict. And that actually, there is something imperfect about our jury system, but it is a principle that if people face accusations, then it is a British justice that they go before 12 of their peers, and that only the most serious cases, and it should be said, in only the most serious cases is that right to a trial by jury going to be preserved under these proposals.
It's laid out in the Magna Carta, isn't it? 1215, that you'll be judged by your peers. And Robert Jenrick's saying, well, you can't row back or scrap entirely a pillar of UK democracy because you failed because of your own incompetence. I mean, does he have a point?
Yeah, Robert Jenrick has a point, but David Lammy is writing in the Telegraph today, says Magna Carta was a protest against state failure. If its authors saw the delays in our courts today, they would not urge us to cling rigidly to tradition. They would demand action. And the Justice Secretary is saying that whatever you might think of the court, of the Magna Carta and the right to a jury trial, that actually justice is not being served at the moment. But absolutely, I think the Tories, Robert Jenrick, Shadow Justice Secretary, has a valid point that we're talking about a very fundamental principle here, that because of the current state of the courts in this country, we are going to have to override. And the Tories are making the argument they do that at our peril.
Do we just need to make the court system more efficient? I mean, we're talking about this backlog, 80,000. Does it need to go as far as... I mean, it has been described as the nuclear option.
But he's trying to make it more efficient.
Yeah, no, but this has been described as the nuclear option. Could you not do something more like, I don't know, expanding court hours, sitting for longer?
Sitting over the weekend.
Potentially.
But I think the argument, and certainly we've if you cover the courts, you see this quite regularly. And I did it as a junior reporter back in the day. But so often you turn up at court and you're confronted with a situation where they've got the prosecution there. They're being paid, by the way. They've got the defence. They've got the judge. But the interpreter hasn't turned up, or they don't have somebody to do the stenography. There's always a reason where it's so many moving parts, and unless you get every moving part in place, then you've got to, or the defendant's late, or they can't get the transport, or whatever it is. Unless you get every moving part in place, justice can't be served. And I think you're right to say that it is a very costly system at the moment, and it needs to be streamlined. The arguments will rage today from politicians of both sides of the House of Commons about the best way to do this. But David Lammy is going, as you say, Ellie, for that nuclear option.
OK, well, look, if you're watching or listening, maybe you've served on a jury, maybe you haven't. maybe you have an idea how to reform all of this. Does it need that nuclear option? Is Lammy right or wrong? Do you want to keep things the way they are? Can we afford to keep things the way they are? Can we afford to wait 2 years before our court case is heard? Let us know, have your say, and we'll reflect that later in the programme.
Yep, you can get in touch, gbnews.com/you'll say. There's also a new way of getting in touch. You can become a friend of GB News. You can do that for free. And if you become our friend, you can vote in our You Decide polls. All you need to do is scan the QR code on your screens now. Just take your phone up to the screen there, take a picture of that QR code, and it will bring you to our poll. And the question today...
the question. Is scrapping juries a price worth paying for swift justice? And it'll be interesting to see how that levels out and what you actually think about that, because you are the people affected. Theo, have you ever sat in a jury?
No.
Would you like to?
I've never been asked. I've covered, back in the day, I covered hundreds probably of court cases. It's quite when you sit in court, it's quite dramatic. It can be quite boring, and you've got to sit through a load of legal argument. But when those verdicts come in and you see people, you see the victims in the public gallery getting justice and the relief. You see people, their lives in one moment shattered, knowing they're going to prison for 30 years. There is the drama of that moment. It cannot be understated. But no, I've never served on a jury. Of course, if I was asked to serve on a jury, then I think you're obliged to, unless you have very good reason. So I'll wait for the call.
I've sat on a number of court cases in this job, and I've always been struck by the inefficiency of the system. I mean, the judge does not walk in until 10:30, and I think that they finish their day at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. And there's an hour's lunch, and then they have a tea break in the morning, and they also have a tea break in the afternoon. It's quite a nice job, I think. I mean, a difficult job, obviously, but nice short hours.
Maybe Lammy's right. Get rid of a lot of them.
Or make them work longer days. Anyway, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
The time, 7:16. Annual house price growth softened to reach 1.8%, we're hearing, in November. It was running around 2.5% in October, and the Nationwide Building Society coming forward with these figures today.
Yeah, house prices increased by 0.3% month on month on average in November, taking the typical property value to just over £270,000. Meanwhile, the Financial Stability Report has also been released by the Bank of England this morning, advising to reduce and mitigate risks to stability. And it comes ahead of the Governor, Andrew Bailey's speech, which he'll be giving later on this morning.
The latest in this, we're delighted to welcome our economics expert, Justin Urquhart-Stewart, in as to what you make of what's going on. Is this good news or bad news, Justin?
Oh, good morning. Well, that's good news, I suppose, on the basis that house prices are still going up, but a slightly lower level. That's all right. For most people, it's the value of the overall value of your house that's so important. Why? Because it's the primary asset that most people have. And that asset affects confidence. If your house price is going up or relatively stable, you'll feel more confident. If it's going down, it affects the entire economy very quickly indeed. We saw this particularly in America with the banking crisis there. We saw people with really pretty rotten homes, but the prices dropping dramatically. And within a few weeks, you saw the economy stop. We're not quite as dramatic here, but nonetheless...
No, but that's 0.3% month on month, whatever. It's not huge.
It's not huge, but that's a rise. Mind you, you've got to be careful when they talk about the average house price. £272,000 buys you a shed in London, will buy you a mansion elsewhere. Yes. So be rather aware. These vary hugely. But no, I think take some comfort from it. It's going in the right direction and not stupidly so. The problem a lot of people have got still people who took out mortgages some time ago when mortgage rates were really very low indeed. 1%, 2%. And now, of course, you've got rates much higher than that. So, the rates are coming down, but having to remortgage now and sort of finding themselves with double the amount they're having to pay. That has a very serious impact and tends to get ignored somewhat because they find it very difficult to get that refinancing. They were used to those lower rates, and the problem was when the rates stayed low for so long, we stayed on emergency rates. And what they should have been doing is bringing them up realistic levels, and you avoided the pain you're going to see.
I mean, the whole country's in a complete mess, just a mess. And What's it like to get a mortgage? Is it easy enough to get a mortgage nowadays or not? Or?
Well, in theory, it's supposed to be getting easier to get a mortgage, but the hoops you have to go through to be able to do so, because it's not just a matter of your pay, but in terms of also now looking at your background, your family circumstances and things like that. And so it is a lot more difficult, whereas before it used to be it was a proportion of how much you're earning, and you could do that as a relatively simple calculation. No, things are going to have to change with this, because also with the value, particularly in the southern England, where people say, my children will never be able to buy a house. Right. That's why we're going to have to change it. Families, you're going to have to go back to old-fashioned family financing across the generations. That's how you're going to have to do it. Doesn't mean literally grandparents buying it.
What do you mean by old-fashioned family financing? What do you mean?
Certainly in Scotland, and we used to see in Ireland, you used to see actually almost, not today we call a family office, but you see the family actually acting together as a financial group to make sure that all members of the family are properly looked after and protected, whether it's in terms of medical issues or in terms of housing. And particularly now that would apply in England, where people can sit there and say, Grandpa or Grandma sitting on a house worth X amount, will they be able to not necessarily sell that house, but use that as collateral to be able to actually go and buy something for the next generation coming through? That means a change in the style of lending, change in some of the rules of it. Needs some imagination, heaven forfend, some imagination coming to the financial services industry to provide something which will be useful for people without necessarily having to change the whole system.
OK. Well, thank you very much indeed, Justin. Those are the latest house price figures, and we're also waiting this, Justin, this financial stability report. This is from the Bank of England. So
yes, it's a huge, great report, but gone through some of the headlines of it, and this is actually quite good news, because basically it's showing that the banking system is working. Good heavens. And they're looking relatively strong. Why is that important? Well, we go back to the Chancellor and her figure with about headroom and things like that. She needs to make sure, if there's a slowdown, to actually make sure that the financial system is has some stability. So you're not going to find yourself with a banking crisis and having to try and refund that and go through all that again. So that's looking encouraging. Now, obviously, some would say, well, it's the banks actually making more money and they're just making too much profit. Well, they have to pay extra taxes for it anyway. They're already quite heavily taxed. So we need a banking system which is profitable. We need a banking system which is reliable and stronger, which is the case. Also, bear in mind, internationally, we're known as a very good international financial services hub. It's one of the great earning elements we've got for the United Kingdom. And it's not just in London. This is spread all over the country to different banking centres. And so we need a report like that to give us back that one word again, confidence, to know that actually the financial services system is actually working quite well. Actually, in terms of the different products being brought through, the stress tests they've carried out on the banks.
Does that reflect well on the Chancellor and her position and how she's managing things, or is she just a lucky byproduct of all of it?
Well, I have to say she's here at the right time. The banks have been repairing themselves, albeit because of the financial regulators stepping in and doing things. I remember the days when Gordon Brown suggested he might have saved the entire global banking system. Not too sure that's totally true. But nonetheless, it is a much stronger position than it was. So she's in the right place there to say, right, at least I've got that behind me, which is stronger. What she must make sure is then don't overdo it, don't overtax the banks at the time when they're just getting stronger, to make sure they've got enough confidence, because you need them to have confidence to go out and lend. If they don't have confidence, then they'll stop lending. And then you'll find yourself back again in the same situation, and the economy slowly grinds to a halt. You need to keep the economy moving. It's moving slowly. It's a snail race at the moment between the leading economies. But at least it is heading in the right direction.
Okay. Justin, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thanks, Justin.
22 minutes past 7.
Now let's get a check on your weather with Annie Shuttleworth.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, although today will be a drier day, there's still a fair few blustery showers on the way for many western areas. Some sunshine in between, and we've got off to a pretty bright start across the east, and there will be more sunshine on the way for many eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see a plethora of showers moving in from the Atlantic. Some of these will really pack a punch, bringing a risk of hail and thunder, particularly to the south and west. But notice some very heavy showers across the northwest too. Now, temperatures are a degree or so cooler than yesterday, but it will feel that much more pleasant, particularly in any sheltered sunshine across the east. Now, the winds will be quite strong, particularly across northwestern areas close to this small area of low pressure. So that brings an unsettled evening to parts of the Highlands and the Western Isles in particular, where we'll continue to see these showers moving in through this evening. Eastern areas of Scotland, the central belt, seeing plenty of dry weather, some clearer skies developing through this evening, as well as across Northern Ireland. The temperatures will start to fall away. Still quite a lot of cloud around for many central and southern areas of England and Wales, and a number of showers still yet to move through on Tuesday evening. They could come further inland across eastern areas for a time, but overnight tonight it will become clearer and drier for many areas. There will still be a number of showers, particularly across coastal areas, western coasts of the UK. So here there'll be more cloud, will be frost-free, but inland sheltered areas could see a touch of frost by Wednesday morning. So a cooler start to the day on Wednesday than today, but more in the way of sunshine to come. A fairly settled day actually for eastern areas. A very different story though for northern Scotland, where this rain will turn to snow over the highest ground. Further south, a mixture of sunshine and showers, particularly across the west, but more in the way of drier weather to come on Wednesday compared to today. And as a result, temperatures will climb to the double digits, 10 or 11 degrees across southwestern areas. See you soon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, your opinions. You're having your say this morning. You're having your say about juries, and the Justice Secretary will have his say about them later today. We'll bring you that. Eamonn, the reason you need juries is that many of today's judges are captured by left-wing ideology, which means many people wouldn't get fair sentences, says Val.
Yeah, there is a concern that there would be political judges. Of course, they're not meant to be in this country like they are in the US, but it is something that a lot of people are concerned about. And one from Chandler who says, my favourite Christmas film is Jack Frost. Brilliant. It's a good film.
Yeah, it is.
Keep them coming in.
What else we got here? Right, can this make it... Yeah. See, I have to say your comments, a lot of your says are very entertaining, but they're not readable because we'll all end up in court. But very good.
Now, 26 minutes past 7, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway now, and it's a goodie. £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Here are all of the details that you need.
It's the greatest cash prize of the Great British Giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. In just a few moments, we're going to be speaking to the Shadow Chancellor, Mel Stride. We're going to be asking him about Richard Hughes, that's the chief at the OBR, stepping down, and what that might all mean for Rachel Reeves. That's up next.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
With the time at 7:30, we're now going to cross to Westminster. The Shadow Chancellor, Sir Mel Stride, joins us now. I'm delighted to say, always good to talk to him. And you're a man, I would say, who will be in very good form so far this week, Mel, because everything is going your way, in the way of the Conservatives and against the government. It's not looking good for them. Where do we begin? What do you make of this Richard Hughes resignation, first of all? Should he go alone, or should the Chancellor go with him?
Well, good morning, Eamonn. The Chancellor should resign. Now, Richard Hughes' departure, one can understand in terms of the serious errors that were made at the OBR, but nonetheless, I think there's more than sort of circumstantial evidence that the relationship between him and Rachel Reeves and the lack of support from the Chancellor for him at this particular moment has been part of the story of him leaving his position. But look, the real story here, not to get distracted too much by the OBR, is that of course the Chancellor called that press conference on the 4th of November, stood up and told the public that there was a huge great black hole in the public finances, and we now know, thanks to Richard Hughes and the information that he brought forward into the public domain on Friday, that simply was not true, that in fact the previous forecast that the OBR provided on the 31st of October had shown that actually she was in a surplus against her fiscal target. So it was a complete misrepresentation of the true position, and also divulging various elements actually of market sensitive information in a way that should not have happened, given that the conversations and interactions between the OBR and the Treasury and others should be strictly confidential. So I think the Chancellor's position herself here is now untenable.
Do you think that she's broken ministerial code?
Sorry. I'm sorry, Ellie.
Can you hear me now? Do you think that the Chancellor has broken ministerial code?
Yes, I can. Yep. Well, that would be a matter for Laurie Magnus to decide whether he thinks an investigation, an inquiry into that is appropriate. But I have written to the Financial Conduct Authority on this whole issue of market abuse and market manipulation, because we are looking at a situation where on the face of it, it appears that the Chancellor, as I was saying, has stood up and misrepresented the situation regarding the public finances. That is dealing in the area of market-sensitive information, and I think there should now be an inquiry, an investigation by the Financial Conduct Authority into what has happened here.
Well, as you say, it is market-sensitive information, isn't it? And what we also found out from this review from the National Cybersecurity Centre, which was looking into the publication of the OBR's report last week, they found that this isn't the first time that this has happened. It was also accessed early in March as well. So the Office for Budget Responsibility doesn't sound very responsible at this point. Do you have confidence in the OBR, and is it fit for purpose?
Well, clearly the fact that this happened, and as you rightly say, it appears that there was possibly a leak back in the time of the spring statement in March, and maybe even before that, that's now being looked into, is totally and utterly unacceptable. It's the most serious breach with the OBR since it was formed 15 years ago. But I don't think that should detract from the importance of the OBR itself. They are there to mark the Chancellor's homework. They are there to make those forecasts on an independent basis, and it's important that they act independently and that it's not the Treasury that fulfills that function, because markets have to have confidence in the information and the kind of assessments that currently the OBR makes, and that they are serious and solid assessments of our economic performance, not tainted by political judgment or the objectives of the Treasury at that particular time. Because if the OBR is not seen to be independent and able to do its job as a strong institution in our financial architecture, then we'll pay higher amounts of interest on our borrowing. So there would be a penalty for that. So I think the OBR itself is a really important institution, and we need to see it strong and independent.
We're seeing this morning, Mel, and the Bank of England, they've come out with a financial stability report, all of which looks very, very good. Can the Chancellor take any credit for that?
Well, no, the position with the public finances is very weak, and much weaker than it should have been, because you've had a government that's come in having said they wouldn't put up taxes but slapped lots of taxes, particularly on businesses, that has killed growth, and all the forecasts that we've had from the OBR and the recent report are that growth in subsequent years is going to be down on where they thought it was going to be back in the spring. They talked down the economy, if you remember, with this fictitious £22 billion black hole that extinguished the animal spirits in the economy. They borrowed and spent a lot of money, which has stoked inflation. That's kept interest rates higher for longer. They're mounding up lots of debt, and the servicing costs on that debt are now running at £100 billion, or twice what we spend on defence. And what we've seen in this latest budget is actually taking a lot of money now from hard-working people by way of extra tax and spending it on welfare, and those are the wrong priorities, and they're not going to be good for the economic health or the well-being of people up and down the country, I'm afraid.
Just before we let you go this morning, Mr. Stride, can we ask you about the ending of jury trials, other than for the most serious cases of murder, rape and manslaughter? Obviously concerns about what this means for democracy. It's laid out in the Magna Carta in 1215, isn't it, that people have a right to a trial of their peers. David Lammy, speaking to the media and also writing in the Telegraph today, saying that courts cannot cling on to jury trials for the sake of tradition. What do you make of those comments from the Justice Secretary?
Well, I think to dismiss the centuries-long situation where we've had jury trials as hanging on to tradition is a little bit perverse. I think it's a very, very important element of maintaining confidence in our judicial system. And there is an alternative to what he's doing, and that is to not be spending an extra £16 billion on benefits for people who are not in work, but actually putting perhaps some of that resource into speeding up and extending the period over which courts sit so we can get through this backlog. It's the wrong choice.
Kemi Badenoch, just want to quickly ask you about Kemi Badenoch. You were, the day of the budget, and there you were on the front bench and whatever. You looked to me as if you were enjoying what she was saying. How good was she?
I think she was on fire. And I think, firstly, she had a very good understanding of what was like to happen. Understanding of economics and what's happening is very, very good. But secondly, I think the more she got into it and the more she heard what Rachel Reeves was saying, the more she got fired up and the more nimble she became. And I think both at the dispatch box, but equally, if you remember her party conference speech, a fantastic speech at the end of that conference. And I think she's going from strength to strength.
Sir Mel, really appreciate your comments today. Thanks for joining us. See you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
do stay with us. Coming up next, as teachers in England urge schools to take more active steps on LGBTQ+ inclusion, we're asking, should LGBT education be taught in the classroom? That's up next.
Thank you so much for helping us to reach 8 million followers and subscribers across our social media channels. That's 8 million fearless Brits standing up for what really matters.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Emergency works are causing delays in both directions on the A487 at Corris Uchaf. North Somerset drivers should be aware of a broken down vehicle on the M5 southbound exit slip at junction 21 with one lane closed. This incident is expected to clear between 7:30 and 7:45 this morning. And on the trains, there's a Great Western Railway disruption between Portsmouth and Southsea and Portsmouth Harbour. London North Western Railway has buses replacing trains between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey, with a reduced service between Bletchley and Bedford. Stay up to date at gbnews.com for more travel news.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point.
Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Right, just after 20 to 8, a new poll has revealed the majority of teachers say their school needs to make active choices to be more LGBT+ inclusive.
So we're debating this morning, should schools be teaching LGBT education in schools, or is this taking inclusivity too far?
Well, to debate this, in studio, comedian and presenter Martin Joseph and Head of Policy at Christian Concern, Tim Dieppe. Very good to see both of you gentlemen.
Morning, you two.
Tim, first of all, what do we mean by teaching more LGBT lessons?
I think a lot of parents are very concerned about this. We've had examples like Calvin and Nicola Watts found their 8-year-old child in primary school was being taught that children can be born in the wrong body. Doctors made a guess what your gender is when they were born, and then sort of you have to work it out for yourself later on. Completely unscientific stuff like that. The new Social Covenant report found that people are being taught about masturbation in primary school, being taught about anal sex, group sex, all sorts of different sexualities, BDSM and so on. Most parents think this is crazy. Why are you sexualising children as young as that? Why are you putting
young as?
In primary schools sometimes, and other ages as well. Why are you introducing all of this sexually explicit stuff to young children before they're really ready to take it, going against parents' religious and philosophical beliefs, which breaches their Protocol 1 of Article 2 of the European Convention of Human Rights, and teaches in an entirely partisan manner an ideology which is disputed and debated. And that goes against the Education Act 1996 that says ideologies should not be taught in a partisan manner. But they're teaching this as if it's fact that people can be born in the wrong body, for example. And many parents would object to that and say, this is unscientific and it's not the kind of thing I want my child to be taught about.
Martin, what would you say? I mean, Tim's had a very good say there. He's outlined.
I think it's ludicrous. That I would love to see the facts on that. I don't believe any primary school has ever been taught about BDSM. I think it's crazy.
The new Social Covenant report.
I have seen educational materials in schools. I've worked with a lot of children in the past, and they are small books that say, there is no such thing as a normal, and it talks about how you could be, how everyone is independent, how everyone is who they are, and everyone should be accepted for who they are. It's the education should be, of course, suited to the age group that they're dealing with, but I grew up in a time when, after Section 28, literally the day I was born, that came in, and I went through an entire religious Catholic school upbringing of having no education, and what that's done for me and peers around me is that you didn't know anything. You don't know about your sexual health. You don't know about your place in the world. And what's happened now is there's a lot of people that have suffered a lot of shame and trauma because of that. A lot of bullying went on in schools. And what this is giving other kids, not just LGBT kids or kids that may eventually be LGBT, it's giving everyone some knowledge so that they can be understanding with each other.
I just want to pick up on something Martin said here, the Catholic school education, which I was part of as well. I just want to share this with you. We had a biology booklet, a Nuffield biology booklet. So when we were 16, you would learn about the birds and the bees and sort of thing. But the priests who ran the school, whatever it is, took the pictures and everything out, so we learnt everything except biology. So we weren't allowed to see pictures of naked men or women or anything in that as well.
I think that might have been quite specific to your education.
But Martin, do you think it is appropriate to know, I mean, you're saying there that the knowledge about sexual health and things like that is really useful for young people. Do you think it's appropriate, though, for primary school children? Does there need to be an age limit to when these things are taught?
The same way that there is with every other piece of education. You don't get taught about the birds and the bees in reception, you know, you're not playing in the sandpit in the morning and then watching Drag Race and off to a Kylie concert in the afternoon. Like, it's not happening. Like, it should come in at the correct time. When I was in senior school, we learned about sexual health and we learned about pregnancy and puberty and all these things. We didn't learn anything about HIV, for example, and there's a lot of people that have a very minute knowledge of that, which has impacted people over and over again. There's people that have died because of what happened in Section 28 because we did not have that education throughout our entire
Tim is highlighting the age that maybe you should be introduced to all of this, and he's saying that primary school is just far too young. There's no need for it.
Yes, and we had another case, Izzy Montague, her child, aged 4, was forced to participate in a Pride March celebrating LGBT ideology, totally contrary to her religious and philosophical beliefs. We've had many other cases. Another case, Izzy Montague, their child, 10 or 11 years old, again finding LGBT ideology taught in maths lessons and every lesson in the primary school. So this is happening. And the thing is that there's no definition by the government of what is age appropriate. So schools are just doing whatever they feel like and just promoting this according to the headmaster or the teacher thinks this is something they want to promote. They're just promoting it and ignoring parents. And Izzy Montague found herself ostracised. 4-year-old giving a detention for a 4-year-old for not participating in a Pride March. I mean, it's crazy, this kind of thing, and it's really being taught in a totally uncritical manner. No sort of discussion, there's a debate, or people think differently about this and stuff.
Is the teaching of all this optional? I mean, you're saying there's no sort of...
It is optional, yes. Primary schools do not have to do it, but a lot of them are doing it. that's what's happening.
I mean, but I would trust the educators, if we're trusting them to teach them maths and teach them, you know, English and every other subject that's in there, we don't trust them to have a good understanding of what their children are able to understand.
I wish I could trust them, yes, but I think actually we need to have some rules and regulations because they are teaching this stuff in an age-inappropriate manner.
I have seen Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 books and educational pamphlets that they have in those schools, and I can tell you at no point have I ever seen anything other than
read the reports and read about the cases that I've talked about. They're absolutely happening.
Thank you both very much indeed. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Martin and Tim, appreciate it. Thank you both very, very much
Thank you, gentlemen.
indeed.
Thank you.
Now, if you've got a say after all of that, if that's got you worked up, you've got an opinion after all of that, get in touch, give us your say, and we'll reflect that.
Now let's have a look at the European weather.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. If you're planning on escaping the rain this week, well, unfortunately, there's still some rain affecting the parts of the Mediterranean. High pressure, though, in the Canaries, bringing plenty of dry weather to Madeira, 17 degrees here. Plenty of dry weather also across Spain and Portugal, as well as southern areas of France. However, this wet weather is still moving into parts of Greece, bringing some showers to Santorini through the rest of this week. Looking elsewhere, it does look drier and warmer by the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, I think after the first incident, obviously, I became hyper aware of how men can behave in London. But since sharing my story in February, I've had hundreds of women come forward and tell me their stories. It was actually so overwhelming, the amount of people that reached out to me and said, thank you for sharing your story, thank you for talking about it, because this had happened to me and that had happened to me. And I think also because I became aware of it, I don't know whether I started to see it, whether it was rising, but what I do know is that the amount of incidents happening are not the amount of incidents being reported.
One of the controversial issues, Genevieve, here in America is that in certain states, President Trump has put the National Guard on the streets. They have it here in Washington, D.C., and these are kind of volunteer soldiers, if you like. You can see some pictures here, so that's me there with them, and that's Ben Leo, our other host, and you just have groups of them. They're in groups of sort of 3, 4, 5 sometimes on the street corners. We were coming back from a soccer match, football match, I've been here too long, that evening, and you feel safe because they are a very clear presence on the street. Do you think we should have something similar in London?
Yeah, I mean, if there were repercussions and men thought that they were going to be caught and that there were going to be witnesses and that they were going to be held accountable, that would decrease the rate of these kind of attacks happening, because you're going to weigh up whether it's worth it, aren't you, as a
of course
person.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
What is being taught in schools and LGBT plus lessons then says Definitely not. Schools should be teaching education, not brainwashing her children, as she puts it there.
Joe says teachers want to do 4-day weeks because they say they're overworked. Seriously?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that teachers wanted to go down to a 4-day week. Apparently so. Also, yes, true. Also, lots of you getting in touch on scrapping of jury trials, unless it's the most serious of cases. Robert says they should not get rid of juries. It's our protection against politicised, biased judges, which, of course, we're not supposed to have in this country. We have a backlog because of mass immigration and more criminals coming in. But Lammy just wants to rip up centuries of tradition rather than stop immigration.
Helen says she's done jury service. She's done it twice.
Wow.
And they were very traumatic cases. The inefficiency comes from lawyers not being fully prepared, she says. Right, folks, we're going to take a break. We're going to go to the weather with Annie, and we'll be back top of the hour. See you again.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, although today will be a drier day, there's still a fair few blustery showers on the way for many western areas. Some sunshine in between, and we've got off to a pretty bright start across the east, and there will be more sunshine on the way for many eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see a plethora of showers moving in from the Atlantic. Some of these will really pack a punch, bringing a risk of hail and thunder, particularly to the south and west. But notice some very heavy showers across the northwest too. Now, temperatures are a degree or so cooler than yesterday, but it will feel that much more pleasant, particularly in any sheltered sunshine across the east. Now, the winds will be quite strong, particularly across northwestern areas close to this small area of low pressure. So that brings an unsettled evening to parts of the Highlands and the Western Isles in particular, where we'll continue to see these showers moving in through this evening. Eastern areas of Scotland, the central belt, seeing plenty of dry weather, some clearer skies developing through this evening, as well as across Northern Ireland. The temperatures will start to fall away. Still quite a lot of cloud around for many central and southern areas of England and Wales, and a number of showers still yet to move through on Tuesday evening. They could come further inland across eastern areas for a time, but overnight tonight it will become clearer and drier for many areas. There will still be a number of showers, particularly across coastal areas, western coasts of the UK. So here there'll be more cloud, will be frost-free, but inland sheltered areas could see a touch of frost by Wednesday morning. So a cooler start to the day on Wednesday than today, but more in the way of sunshine to come. A fairly settled day actually for eastern areas. A very different story though for northern Scotland, where this rain will turn to snow over the highest ground. Further south, a mixture of sunshine and showers, particularly across the west, but more in the way of drier weather to come on Wednesday compared to today. And as a result, temperatures will climb to the double digits, 10 or 11 degrees across southwestern areas. See you soon.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making us the fastest growing news website in the UK. We're truly humbled, and we couldn't have done it without you.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M4 eastbound, congestion is reported at Capel Lanilturn's off-slip. In Surrey, the A3 southbound between the M25 and A247 has a broken down vehicle causing lane closures. Oxfordshire faces a road traffic collision on the M40 southbound between Junction 10 and Junction 9, affecting traffic flow with one lane closed. And on the trains, Great Western Railway has disruptions between Portsmouth and Southsea and Portsmouth Harbour. London North Western Railway replaces trains with buses between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey, offering reduced service between Bletchley and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
Oh no, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Good morning. The Chancellor clings to power as the OBR chief resigns over the budget leak. It was branded the worst failure in the organisation's history.
Well, amid the fallout, the Conservative leader is accusing the Chancellor of using the OBR chief, former chief, Richard Hughes, as a human shield.
Fact is, this is now turned into a political crisis for the Prime Minister and his Chancellor. This is a classic example of do as I say, not do as I do.
Well, there are now demands for the release of all correspondence between the Chancellor and Mr Hughes.
Elsewhere, the Justice Secretary, David Lammy, will today set out plans to scrap thousands of jury trials, arguing that courts cannot cling to juries purely for the sake of tradition.
Everything I'm announcing today is about centering victims in our criminal justice system.
Dad, unfortunately, had to lose his life before the police took any action.
The daughter of murdered dog walker Bim Coley saying his death could have been prevented. She blamed a series of police failures.
Sam Holland, he's the celebrity chef and also the brother of the Hollywood actor Tom Holland. He's going to join us later on in the programme to give us tips on how to take the stress out of Christmas cooking and stir up some festive cheer.
Sport this morning, VAR will have even more power at next year's World Cup. Spurs manager Thomas Frank need to win tonight in Newcastle to keep the booing fans at bay, and England get ready for the second test, the place they call the Gabbatoir.
Hello, good morning. After a very wet start to the week, there's drier weather to come through the rest of this week, but there's still a risk of showers. You can find out all the details with me a little later on.
On this Tuesday morning, good morning, thanks for your company. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. Well, let's Let's get straight into the politics, shall we, this morning, and speak to health spokesperson for the Liberal Democrats, Helen Morgan, who joins us live from Westminster now. Very good morning to you, Miss Morgan.
Good morning.
I know you're here to talk about an A&E crisis. We will get on to that, but just wanted to get your reaction to the OBR chief, Richard Hughes, stepping down. Was that the right decision by him?
I think that was the right decision by him. It's a completely chaotic situation, and we've seen a hugely chaotic run-up to the whole budget. So I think it's right that he's taken responsibility for what's happened.
Do you think the OBR is fit for purpose? I mean, what this review found was this isn't the first time that this has happened, this accidental publication of the report reacting to the budget. A similar thing happened in March. Do you have full confidence in the OBR?
Well, I think the OBR needs to look at its processes and ensure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again. They need to understand why they've been making this information publicly available before it should have been. But I think a process of forecasting for the Chancellor, which isn't politically motivated, is probably a helpful thing to have.
What do the Liberal Democrats make of the ending of jury trials, other than for the most serious of cases, such as murder, rape and manslaughter? David Lammy speaking to the media and also writing in The Telegraph today, talking about the Magna Carta of 1215, which lays out the justification for jury trials. He says courts cannot cling on to jury trials for the sake of tradition. What do you make of those comments from the Justice Secretary?
Well, I think jury trials are a cornerstone of any democracy, and it's really, really concerning that in order to solve a broken and chaotic justice system, which is broken from beginning to end, that removing the fundamental rights of British citizens to trial by their peers is the answer to that. And David Lammy was very, very critical of the removal of trial by jury when he was in opposition. So this about-face is quite surprising to see.
Helen, where do you stand on the resident doctors' 5-day strike? Another one from December the 17th.
Well, I think the strike before Christmas is really, really concerning. I think the BMA should have put the offer made by the government to their members before calling their doctors out on strike again. We do understand that doctors are working in really awful conditions, crumbling hospitals, not enough training places for them. But I think the demand for a 20% pay rise after the one that they had last year, I think most people would consider to be unreasonable in the current environment, and they need to get back around the table and ensure that they are working hard to keep patients safe and also to get them home where necessary in the run-up before Christmas.
What do you make of this new pharmaceutical deal that Britain has brokered with the US? It would be zero tariffs on exported British drugs into the US for the next 3 years. Clearly it's a good deal for them. Is it a good deal for Britain?
I think it's a really concerning deal for NHS patients. I mean, the numbers that were being reported yesterday are huge, up to £6 billion extra for the NHS to absorb from its budget, which will have to be diverted from frontline services. The Nuffield Trust are quite clear that the best way to save people's lives is to invest that money into frontline services. And so to essentially hand over a lot of British taxpayers' money to big pharmaceutical giants because Donald Trump has asked the British government to do that is very, very concerning.
And you're here today to talk to us about an A&E crisis. You think 2025 is set to be the worst year ever for trolley waits. How do we fix this?
Well, if we look at the numbers, they're horrendous. So nearly 450,000 people have waited on a trolley for more than 12 hours up to October this year. And that's after the decision was taken to admit them. So when they've been in A&E for potentially a very, very long time indeed. If you compare that to 2016, that was only 1,500 people in the same period. So the increases are off the scale, 34,000 more people than last year. Now, we know that people come to harm when they are left waiting in A&E for a really, really long time. So we're calling on the government to introduce an emergency package to end corridor care this winter, 1,000 extra staff beds in hospitals, an emergency care package for social care so that people can be discharged when they're ready, a qualified clinician in every waiting room so that somebody's monitoring these people safely when they have these long waits, and obviously steps to be more ambitious on tackling the shortage of GPs so that people don't go to A&E because they have no other alternative.
In terms of raising money, then, you probably would have very little argument with the Chancellor in what she was doing, what the Health Secretary was doing to refund the NHS.
Well, obviously we welcome investment in the NHS, but taxing people during a cost of living crisis is really, really problematic, isn't it? That's why we called for an alternative way to find that money by looking at windfall profits in the big banks, but also, you know, some hope and some ambition to grow the economy in Britain by looking at all the red tape we have in our trade dealing with Europe, so that we don't have to keep coming back with more and more tax rises, so that we can grow the tax revenue to the Treasury without coming back and picking people's pockets when they're finding it really, really hard to make ends meet.
Well, Helen, I think anybody listening to you could understand what you mean by ending corridor care and all those other things that you mentioned and replacing them. But again, this boils down to money and the willingness of various governments to spend money on the NHS. Do you realistically think, I mean, your calls seem quite logical, but do you actually really think the money will be spent and somebody will listen to you?
Well, I don't think the government are listening, and that's why we're making these calls, because it's unacceptable to have people waiting, you know, potentially in pain, in very undignified conditions on hospital corridors. And it's not safe for the staff either. In addition to the moral injury of them not being able to provide the care they want to provide, some of them are working in really dangerous conditions, you know, lifting people without the appropriate equipment. You know, there's a health and safety risk for staff. It's really undignified for patients who might not be able to get to the loo, might not be able to ask for a drink of water. It's got to end. The government needs to work out how they're going to deal with this crisis, and we've come up with some good suggestions and a way to fund them by dealing with both the front door and the back door of the crisis in the NHS.
Helen, thank you. I think the thing is that what you're complaining about has become the norm. Corridor care and whatever, it just has become the norm, and they now deal with it, and it's part of everyday life, sadly to say. Good to hear from you. Thank you very much, Helen Morgan.
Thanks, Helen.
Who's the health spokesperson for the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, listening across to that was GB News' chief political correspondent, Katherine Forster, who joins us in the studio now. Very good morning to you, Katherine. What did you make of Helen Morgan's comments on the OBR chief, Richard Hughes, resigning? She said it was the right thing he went.
Well, perhaps, but look, that obviously was a terrible breach, the fact that it was all put out there before the Chancellor had even stood up, let alone sat down. So ultimately, he is the head. He's taken responsibility. But he may be gone, but the role of the Office for Budget Responsibility is very important. It is to mark the Treasury's homework. It is important that we have that unbiased.
Are you saying that somebody may use this as an excuse to get rid of the OBR?
Well, no, but they will have to find a replacement now for Richard Hughes. He did not have a good relationship with the Chancellor. I think they were barely on speaking terms by the end of it.
Nor the Treasury.
Yes, but it's important that they find somebody who is politically neutral for that role. And I think it is unfortunate, given that he was due to be appearing before MPs this morning, the Treasury Select Committee. We might have got some more details from him about what Rachel Reeves knew or didn't know. I mean, his subordinates will be appearing in place. But look, Kemi Badenoch has said he's been used as a human shield by the Chancellor. Nigel Farage has said the wrong person has resigned. And he wants to see all the correspondence between the OBR and the Chancellor released. But I think still huge pressure on the Chancellor, because we have a lot of facts now, we have a lot of data, and it is clear that, yes, there was a productivity downgrade, but there were also what the IFS called stonking tax receipts that offset that and made, in fact, that they had a surplus. So they made choices to raise tax and, in part, to fund benefits. That was not the impression that they gave.
It's almost a week on since the budget. It was last Wednesday, wasn't it? We're still talking about it and the fallout of it. Do you think the Chancellor can survive this? Or is this story just getting bigger and bigger and running away with her?
I think it is incredibly damaging, because what the allegation is effectively lied, misled, pick your word, but at a minimum misled voters, misled the public, misled the press, misled all of us about the true economic picture. And of course that had an effect on the markets, because we had months and months of doom and gloom, and we know now that 5 days before she stood up, that breakfast speech, which was very unusual, they knew that they actually had £4 billion headroom. That doesn't mean necessarily that I think she's going to go, because if she went, she is so tied to the Prime Minister, so tied to the Prime Minister. It's difficult to see how she could go without making huge trouble for him. But I do think come May and the local elections, then the public will cast their verdict. OK, they've kept Labour MPs happy, lifting the two-child benefit cap and so on. They've kept the markets happy. Have they kept the public happy, having told them before the election we won't raise taxes on working people and done the exact opposite? Well, I think they might be in for a reckoning come May.
And it just erodes public trust even further, doesn't it?
It completely does, because if you can't believe them, and I think we've had several examples now, before the next election, before the last election, we won't raise taxes on working people. Then that first budget, £40 billion of tax rises. But we won't need to do anything like that again, they said. And here we are, £26 billion more of tax rises, much of which falling exactly on working people.
Now, the Justice Secretary today may try and reduce that tax burden with juries. Going to ask your opinion on this. But first of all, we've got to say to you, if you're a friend of GB News, you can vote in today's You Decide poll. What you do is you scan the QR code, which has now just appeared on your screen, and the question we're asking is...
Is scrapping juries a price worth paying for swift justice? Well, just 6% of you say yes, it is worth it. 94% of you say no, it is not. Katherine, what's your reaction to that?
Isn't that interesting? There's a lot of things that this government are doing that were not in the manifesto, that are massive, massive changes. We've had this right going back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, something that David Lammy has previously defended. Now, we will get the details probably in Parliament this lunchtime, but it sounds like, yes, they will keep juries for the most serious cases, so rape, murder, manslaughter, but for things likely to result in jail of less than 5 years, which can still be pretty serious, no jury. That is a massive change. Now, there was a report looking into this to make recommendations to get this 80,000 court backlog down. That did not recommend going as far as has been floated. I think there's going to be a little bit of a rowback. It sounds like what might happen is that cases where defendants could choose either way, whether it was to be heard by a judge or a judge and two magistrates, it might be those cases. But we will have to see. We'll get more details later. Lawyers not happy, the Criminal Bar Association, the Bar Council, Sir Keir Starmer's old chamber, Doughty Street, 9 former Attorney Generals all saying they think this is not a good idea.
Wow.
But it all protects their jobs, keeps them all in a job. I'm only being controversial. Let us know what you think about these things. Ms. Katherine, thank you very much indeed. Very comprehensive political roundup there.
Now, at 15 minutes past 8, let's get a check on the weather with Annie Shuttleworth.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, although today will be a drier day, there's still a fair few blustery showers on the way for many western areas. Some sunshine in between, and we've got off to a pretty bright start across the east, and there will be more sunshine on the way for many eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see a plethora of showers moving in from the Atlantic. Some of these will really pack a punch, bringing a risk of hail and thunder, particularly to the south and west. But notice some very heavy showers across the northwest too. Now, temperatures are a degree or so cooler than yesterday, but it will feel that much more pleasant, particularly in any sheltered sunshine across the east. Now, the winds will be quite strong, particularly across northwestern areas close to this small area of low pressure. So that brings an unsettled evening to parts of the Highlands and the Western Isles in particular, where we'll continue to see these showers moving in through this evening. Eastern areas of Scotland, the central belt, seeing plenty of dry weather, some clearer skies developing through this evening, as well as showers across Northern Ireland, the temperatures will start to fall away. Still quite a lot of cloud around for many central and southern areas of England and Wales, and a number of showers still yet to move through on Tuesday evening. They could come further inland across eastern areas for a time. But overnight tonight, it will become clearer and drier for many areas. There will still be a number of showers, particularly across coastal areas, western coasts of the UK. So here there'll be more cloud, will be frost-free, but inland sheltered areas could see a touch of frost by Wednesday morning. So a cooler start to the day on Wednesday than today, but more in the way of sunshine to come. A fairly settled day actually for eastern areas. A very different story though for northern Scotland, where this rain will turn to snow over the highest ground. Further south, a mixture of sunshine and showers, particularly across the west, but more in the way of drier weather to come on Wednesday compared to today. And as a result, temperatures will climb to the double digits, 10 or 11 degrees across southwestern areas. See you soon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, 18 minutes past 8, just time to tell you about the brand new Great British Giveaway. And it's a goodie. £85,000 in tax-free cash could all be yours for the new year. Here are all of the details that you need.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British Giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
So tell me this, when you cook, I mean, you take control of the Christmas dinner, is that a pleasurable experience for you?
I find it quite stressful, but I find it's the timings. With Christmas dinner, there's so many different elements.
Yes.
It's getting everything together at the right time and keeping everything hot.
I just am amazed how some people, you know, they go to the trouble. We're having 15 people around. That would be my worst nightmare.
I know.
I mean, fine.
Where do you sit everyone as well?
Well,
that's another stress.
You sit them at a hotel. That's where you go. The dining room somewhere, a restaurant.
But then you pay a fortune to have people at a hotel.
I still think it would be worth it.
It is nice to host. I like the idea of having everybody around, everyone together.
I like the idea of the people.
Yeah, the people's lovely, yeah.
But not the idea of cooking for them or cleaning up after them.
Anyway, I've got a treat for you.
Yes.
Because all of the answers to all of the Christmas dresses, we're going to get them answered by Sam Holland. Now, he's the brother of Tom Holland. He's also a celebrity, but he's a celebrity chef. So he's going to be telling us how to take the stress out of our Christmas dinner and to make it just that little bit easier for all of us.
Well, good luck to you. We look forward to talking to him, and we'll be doing that right after this short break.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored. Very, very racist tonight on the
unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
And I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about autism and why you got involved with this, because some people don't know the story as to why you set up Anna Kennedy Online.
Well, I have 2 sons. They're now 32 and 35, and I'm proud to say that my eldest son, Patrick, is in Stockholm at the moment on his own, so that's like a big step for him to go on holiday, and he's loving it. So they both were diagnosed fairly young, and the support at the time was just non-existent. So we had to set up our own school, And then we set up a vocational college for my youngest son, Angelo.
Now, how do you know that they're autistic? Is there a blood test? Is it something where you have a list of symptoms? Or, because some people say, oh, I've got ADHD and this and that, and I think sometimes people conflate it with autism. Are there parallels with the two, or are they totally separate? Because it's confusing.
They're very different from each other, both Patrick and Angelo. So Angelo was diagnosed fairly early at 2.5, 3. He passed all the milestones and then he just lost everything. His speech, eye contact, didn't want to be touched, didn't even want me to hug him at the time, running from one end of the room to the other, squealing, and it was just like, what is going on? And as a mum, you're thinking, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong?
Oh, no.
Patrick was diagnosed fairly early again, but he was premature, and I thought the difficulties that he was having because he was 11 weeks premature, I thought, is it because he had a bit of a difficult start, in and out of hospital. And then he was diagnosed at 4, and then we found out when he was 7, when he was struggling at school. He was finding school difficult, being bullied. So it's an autism spectrum condition, and if you feel that there might be, something that I'm not quite sure, I can't get a handle on it, please go and see your GP and just ask for your child to be assessed. But the difficulty at the minute is the waiting list is so long to get a diagnosis.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Well, here we are. We've got the decorations, the Christmas decorations around the studio, symbolising that the countdown to the big day has begun.
And I'm in my Christmas dress.
Ellie's in her Christmas dress. If you couldn't, Santa's extra robe there.
Mrs. Claus.
Mrs. Claus. Very good. So, what about Christmas for you? Is it stressful? And we're particularly talking about this when it comes to the kitchen and cooking.
Because it is stressful. If you're hosting for lots of people, all the dishes, getting it all hot, getting it all to the table on time, finding the right turkey to feed all the relatives. It can be expensive as well, and busy when it comes to the food.
Well, it's been revealed that 77% of festive cooks, that's more than 3/4, will start preparing for the big dinner on Christmas Eve.
That's very wise.
Well, of course, but you wouldn't just do it on the day.
Well, you can't. You have to prepare.
I know, so that's why that statistics making me think, well, what else would you do? Anyway, joining us now with handy tips. He wants to make it stress-free. He wants to make it lovely for you. He is celebrity chef Sam Holland. Good morning to you, Sam.
Good morning, Eamonn. How are you?
Well, I'd be OK, but if I was sitting thinking about preparing Christmas dinner, I wouldn't be OK, Sam. That's the thing. I would be stressed, and Ellie was saying it's about timings and everything.
Timings.
Being ready at the right time, and she's absolutely right. And that's why, left to my own devices at my old age that I'm in now, I would just go to a restaurant or a hotel. That would be me.
Yeah, no, it is stressful, but Christmas is the most important cooking day of the year, and Christmas isn't great just for the presents and the family. The food is a really important part. So I'm here kind of teaming up with Lyles to try and give people some tips and tricks to try and make sure they make a better Christmas dinner, and maybe one which is a little more stress-free.
Come on then, Sam, what are your tips? So we're hearing there that 77% of people start their prep the night before. Is that something that you would advise? What things and what elements of the Christmas dinner can we do ahead of time to try and ease the stress?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I even get my Christmas dinner prepped even before Christmas Eve. It's kind of a 3-day kind of project for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the things you can do on Christmas Eve, you can parboil your roast potatoes, you can make your cauliflower cheese, you can make your mulled wine red cabbage. So there's loads of things you can do beforehand, meaning that on the day for Christmas, you can spend more time with your family and kind of enjoying your day.
Sam, what we always did on Christmas Eve, handed down by my parents, was prepare the ham on Christmas Eve, and the house would have a lovely smell about it. You know, that the ham would be done, it'd be ready to be carved then. That was that bit out of the way. Would you be in favour of that, or would it be dry and hard for you, or what way would you see it?
No, I think that's a great idea. And I think what you need to remember is when you even marinate things overnight, I always feel like time is sometimes the best ingredient. And when you leave food overnight, it kind of absorbs a bit more flavour. And, you know, how often have we said, you know, a curry's better than the next day? So
true.
You know, prepping the day before is not going to necessarily hinder the quality of the food. Improve it, and it's also going to make your life a bit more easier as well.
Now, you talk about flavour there and the ham, and don't ask me how, why, but my father always did this, and he would pour Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola gammon's really good. Is that what you're going to say?
Over the ham, yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's like a nice glaze.
Yeah, no, and I think with ham especially is cooking is really a science, and it's really a balance of flavours. So obviously, gammon being quite salty, you need something quite sweet to kind of balance it out. So things like Coca-Cola, honey, golden syrup are all things that pair really nicely with ham. And yeah, I mean, Christmas is a day for not holding back. I mean, in our household especially, we make sure that we do all the trimmings and all the sauces and all the just all the bells and whistles. So we have about 15 things on display. And another good tip for me is that we just kind of put it all down on the table and we let people help themselves, because not everyone loves Brussels sprouts and not everyone loves fine red cabbage. So we kind of let the guests kind of enjoy themselves, because after you've gone through the rigmarole of cooking, the last thing you want to do is sometimes plate up 15 plates. So just, you know, let the guests help themselves and get to eating.
That's a really good tip. So the thing that stresses me out, Sam, is the timings. So as you were just describing there's lots of different elements. So you were talking about 15 there. How do you ensure that everything comes together at the right time? And how do you keep everything hot? That's the thing that really causes me a headache on Christmas Day.
Well, I think it would be impossible to try and time everything to perfection. I think if you're waiting for your roast potatoes to go golden, the cauliflower cheese to get melted, and, you know, whilst the kind of turkey's resting on the side, it is going to be really impossible, and it's going to be juggling like 15 plates. So what I tend to do is kind of get everything cooked to perfection beforehand, maybe about half an hour before, and then about 10 minutes before we serve up the food, kind of run it through a nice hot oven, just so everything's cooked perfectly and everything's hot, ready for service.
Sam, dry turkeys. How do you avoid a dry turkey?
Well, I think the best tip I've received is actually putting it in a brine. Now, for those of you that don't know, a brine is basically like a salted solution, and you basically put it in a big tub of salty water with aromats like, you know, bay leaves, thyme, peppercorns, onions, lemon. And what that does through osmosis is that it actually seasons the bird, because the area of salted water penetrates the turkey. And also, the turkey is actually going to increase in weight because it's going to absorb some of that water, which will mean that not only are we going to have a perfectly seasoned bird, is we're also going to have a much juicier bird. So it's going to take a bit longer. You might need to use your bathtub to brine it. But ultimately, you're going to be left with the best turkey you're going to have this Christmas.
Good tip.
Oh, that sounds yummy. I'm going to have to do that. Sam...
We'll get you back sometime, Sam, and we'll talk about the Boxing Day food.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to get you back to talk about the Boxing Day buffet. Sam, just before we let you go, what are your plans for Christmas? Will you be seeing your brother as well? You're very, very talented family, you and your brother.
Yeah, no, Christmas is such a special time with the family. It's quite sacred, so we're really excited to have a really nice meal with the whole family. And yeah, it's a lot of pressure on my shoulders because I've been doing it for the last few years now, but I'm sure it's going to be a big success.
You can do it.
You'll do a great job.
God bless. Thank you very much indeed. Have a happy Christmas to you and yours, OK?
Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much
Merry Christmas,
indeed.
Sam. Oh, that's the first time I've said Merry Christmas this year.
Ah.
Isn't that nice?
I can imagine Sam there at his Christmas table and whatever going, Tom, come down from the ceiling. Dinner's being served. Spider-Man.
He's very...
Can do what spiders can.
Very creative family. Got an actor, got a celebrity chef, and Sam knows everything.
And then would they sit down and watch, would their Christmas movie be Spider-Man?
Oh, we should have asked that. That was silly. We've been talking about that all day.
OK.
I'll have to get Sam back to ask him what he watches at Christmas.
In between that, we're going to find out what the roads are like if you're out and about today. Here's the traffic update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M5 southbound in Worcestershire, a collision between junctions 4 and 4A has closed one lane, with 40-minute delays until 9:45 this morning. On the M40 southbound between junctions 10 and 9 in Oxfordshire, expect 40-minute delays, resolved around 9:45. In North Somerset, the M5 southbound exit slip at junction 21 has a broken down vehicle causing lane closure with normal conditions by 8:45. Commuters on the M25 clockwise between junctions 9 and 10 in Surrey should anticipate 30-minute delays, clearing by 8:30. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Mr. Paul, he's got the sport and he'll bring you the best Pep Guardiola interview of all time. I kid you not. Hang around for Paul right after this.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel. You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things up the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Pretty big claim. The best Pep Guardiola interview ever.
Oh, who said that?
You did.
Oh, did I?
Apparently.
Well, your producer did.
It's really putting the pressure on, that
It
is.
is.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's
High bar.
three games today. Newcastle are playing Spurs at St James's Park. Could be.
But you'd like to be there. What an atmosphere that would be.
Yeah.
Great ground.
It would be, yes.
Do you feel a bit heebie-jeebies?
The thing is, though, it's a bit far from here, and it's also 8:15 kickoff.
And it's a Tuesday night.
I know.
It's too late. It's the middle of the night.
And the chances of Spurs winning?
Slim.
Well, you never know. But, you know, they need to win. Bournemouth versus Everton. Now, Fulham versus Manchester City is at Craven Cottage.
Yeah.
Man City are second. Pep Guardiola did a press conference yesterday. You know, and they do this always the day before there's a big game and all the press go in and they'll ask him, you know, a question, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Anyway, the press conference lasted for 133 seconds in all.
Oh, that's under 2 minutes.
It's under 2 minutes, and I can actually give you the questions, three of the questions that were asked. I will give you those now, and then we can hear the answers. questions are, Donnarumma, the goalkeeper, 4th yellow card, is there any concern? Have you spoken to him? And will Rodri be fit for the next game? Here are the answers. Pep.
No, have a lot. Have many. Yeah, two worries. Not yet. No.
No, it wasn't in the chatty mood.
What do you think? Pretty good?
Well, what I think is these guys should grow up a bit. On both sides. These managers are paid 2 fortunes, right?
They are.
To answer questions and give the fans, let the fans know a bit of news. So the keeper's being booked all the time. Have you spoken to him? Did he say no? Not. Yeah. Well, anyway, and sometimes the reporters ask really dense questions as well.
What, like, my favourite one is, are you hoping you're going to get 3 points tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. But then,
no.
But then, you know, they can't ask anything critical. You look at the touchline interviews or the tunnel interviews after games, during games, whatever it is. And that was a really good defeat, wasn't it? I mean, his defeat's goal, that was played well.
Because that actually says, I'm a little bit scared of you, so I'm going to try and ask you something nice, even though it wasn't so good.
But there were scary people in their day. I mean, I basically, you know, the young reporters are tied into contracts that the TV companies made with the sponsors and the clubs and things like that. So, there's nothing really they can do with it.
Yeah, but these days they go into a press conference, and there's some clubs that say, you're not allowed to ask this, you're not allowed to ask this. If you ask this, you're going to be banned. It's like, it's ridiculous.
It is.
What's it, like a puff piece? It's crazy.
It is ridiculous, and they should just be basically telling them to sling it, and you're going to ask it anyway.
That's why I'm never allowed to ever go to any press conference anywhere. No, he's going to ask this stupid. Oh, I better mention the Ashes. It's being played at the Gabba. Do you know why the Brisbane cricket ground is called the Gabba?
I don't.
Sounds very Aussie.
It does sound Aussie because it is. It's the suburb in Brisbane called Wooloongabba. So that's why Wooloongabba. So that's where the Gabba comes from. It's the Gabba at the end because they didn't tend to shorten.
Where did you say it? Did you say Brisbane?
Yes, in Brisbane.
I've been to Brisbane.
Have you been to Brisbane?
Yeah.
I haven't won a cricket game in Brisbane. England have played 22 tests there and have won 5. Not won in 39 years. Lost 7 of the last 10. Thursday night, Thursday, it's like early hours. Day-night test with a pink ball. Steve Smith is wearing these...
A pink ball?
Yeah. It's to do with the lights, you see. It's because look, you see
Steve Smith's wearing these anti-reflectors.
That's right. You have a look at this. You know, they do this, and they do it like in American football... And you often see that they have the white. See, I've always wondered why.
Yeah,
I thought, is it to intimidate? Is that what it is? But they say because the reflection of the sun, or the
floodlights.
The floodlights actually it reflects off your cheekbones and into your eyes.
And I have big cheekbones.
Have you had that problem when you've been out in the sun?
No, I haven't. But I've got big fat cheeks, you know. So.
Well, have you ever tried wearing those things?
I might have to do.
Put them on the show.
On the sunny. If it's very sunny outside, just put those on.
Or the studio lights.
Yeah. Turn your life around. You know what? You'd look fantastic as well.
But when I was a kid, we always wanted to look like the Apache Indians, the Red Indians.
Right.
You know, and they would have paint on.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
How did that go down?
Well, it was good. You used to be able to buy wigs and things, you know.
Right.
With feathers coming out of the top.
Yeah. Can't do that anymore.
Can't do that anymore.
No, well, let's play some birthdays,
but
shall
Brisbane, let me tell you about Brisbane. Brisbane is very close to where they shoot I'm a Celebrity.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you are.
Nice neck of the woods.
You're glad you listened to me there.
Well, I always listen.
Is it quite close to the Wooloongabba area of Brisbane?
I've now realised I passed the ground before.
There you go.
Happy birthday to who?
Right, OK, let's go with some sport birthdays. First one is Monica Seles. Monica Seles, former world number 1. The youngest ever world number 1 at the age of 17.
And I would say she's got to be in her 50s now, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
OK.
58.
52.
52 is correct.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, well
Very
done.
good. Very good. Let's go with another one. Now, Jimmy Greaves on the right. That's Mike England on the left.
Yes.
Great defender. He was Wales manager. And he was England, but he was the Wales manager.
His name was England, but he was Welsh.
Fantastic defender. Yeah.
Did he play for Spurs?
He did play for Spurs in the 60s and very early 70s.
Right, OK. Well, that helps. I'm going to say 88. 7. 6. 86.
What are you doing, a countdown? What's going on here?
86.
86. right in the middle, 84.
OK.
Oh, do you know what?
Good.
I don't think that was a bad guess.
Last one.
Last one. OK, let's leave David Batty. David Batty's 57.
Happy birthday, David
Let's go to the
Batty.
last one, who played for Huddersfield Town, and here she comes. Oh, it's Britney Spears' birthday. How old is Britney?
Spears played for Huddersfield Town.
Yeah, she was a defender from Huddersfield Town. It's a sporting birthdays thing, so there's Britney.
How old? You'll know.
Oh, Britney.
Come on, how old is Britney?
40.
You're all going to be... Oh, yeah, 42.
3, 4, 4.
44 is the right.
Yay!
She looks well on it. She looks
Happy
well
birthday, Britney.
Happy birthday, Britney.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Have a lovely day.
And
whose birthday is it tomorrow?
Never mind. Bye-bye. Right, up next, can you guess how many under-5s are using social media?
It is
shocking. You will be surprised, but these two will tell you. They are Chloe Dobbs and Chris Wooding, going through the newspapers next. Don't go away.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. If you're planning on escaping the rain this week, well, unfortunately, there's still some rain affecting the parts of the Mediterranean. High pressure, though, in the Canaries, bringing plenty of dry weather to Madeira, 17 degrees here. Plenty of dry weather also across Spain and Portugal, as well as southern areas of France. However, this wet weather is still moving into parts of Greece, bringing some showers to Santorini through the rest of this week. Looking elsewhere, it does look drier and warmer by the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm not so concerned about the very highly paid public officials like Sadiq Khan, but even he is paying nearly £20,000 a year into his own pension. So it's quite right that he should get the appropriate pension on his retirement. But who I'm more concerned about are the 16,000 local councillors up and down the country. They work an average of 22 hours a week. Some of them, about 1 in 8, work more than 35 hours a week serving their local communities. They don't get paid a wage, but they do get an allowance. And it's only about £7,000 a year on average. But in some local authorities, they only get an allowance of £3,000 a year. Now, that seems very small reward for... They're in charge of the hundreds of millions of pounds of local budgets to provide council services, from libraries to parks to elderly care homes. I think it's fair they get a decent pension.
Being a councillor isn't a full-time job. As you said, it's 22 hours a week. It's not a full-time job. Most people work 40 hours a week, and they won't get a pension, an inflation-busting, gold-plated pension. It just feels very, very unfair when a time when we're being asked all working people to contribute more.
Some councillors do not do a very good job, but those councillors, it's up to the local voters to vote them out. But I want to say that I know quite a few local councillors in different parts of the country, and all the ones I know, they work very, very hard, and they do a full-time job, paid job. They do a job, you know, which gets them employment, but they do their council work on top of that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We've got Chloe Dobbs and David Wooding going through the papers today. I'm sorry we overran on something the last hour, so we'll make the most of you this time round. What are we starting with, Ellie?
Chloe, this is shocking, isn't it? Tell us the number of under-5s who are on social media.
So some research by the Centre for Social Justice has shown that apparently 37%, so 800,000 of under-5s are on social media. That's where they've asked
What
the
do
parents.
they mean by social media? What do they mean? Social media, that means talking to each other as opposed to looking at cartoons or something.
Well, they've asked parents, are your children engaging in one or more forms of social media? And that's the figure that they've got now. We don't know exactly which. Are they on? Have they got Facebook accounts and Instagram accounts and TikTok accounts? Or could it just be the case that included in there is parents putting on YouTube Kids, giving them something to watch like Peppa Pig or whatever they watch on there? So it's a little bit unclear how serious this is, but I think there is a clear trend of more and more young children getting really addicted to social media. And I was on social media at a very young age. It was new and exciting. It had just been invented at the time, but I think it was a bit different then because we didn't have short form content. Now you've got all these short 7-second odd videos. They're super addictive, get them completely trapped. And the kids, consequently, it's ruining their attention span. I'm a maths tutor and I have some students that I have taught where they cannot concentrate for more than 2 minutes, and it's hard to get them not to grab for their phone in the middle of a lesson because they are desperate to get...
They're used to those dopamine hits, aren't they?
It's a constant stream of dopamine hits, and it's wreaking absolute havoc then in the classrooms, trying to get them to do their exams and to concentrate, let alone when they then go on to work a job. We've got a huge productivity crisis in the UK as it is, when you've got all of these kids growing up with these fried brains, ADHD issues through the roof. It doesn't make
surprise,
for a good workforce when they do reach that age.
It leads to anxiety, speech impediments, lack of sleep, bad behaviour in school, all the things. And, you know, how are you going to get children to read, have to have the attention to sit down and read a book if they're used to looking at 10-second shorts all the time?
My friend is a primary school teacher, and we were talking about this the other day, and she was saying it is so clear to her in her class which children have been raised with tablets and screens and YouTube, and which children are being read to by their parents.
Yeah, it's lazy parent. People will say, oh, it's on the social media companies, they need to crack down on this, and maybe there's an element of that, but I really think a lot of it is lazy parenting. I see it all the time when I'm in restaurants. Rather than families engaging their children in the conversation at the dinner table, they think, oh, wouldn't it be easy if we just stick an iPad in front of the kid and we can just ignore them and have our own dinner? And they do it at home too. And also, when I was a kid, we were allowed to just go out, go find our friends, knock on their doors, play and entertain ourselves. Now, children can't meet with other children unless it's an organised play date supervised by the parents. So when the parents don't have time, they just chuck an iPad in front of the kid at home rather than letting them go out and climb trees and engage in the kind of risky play that is important for children's development.
Let's stick with reading, and if they were to read books, I don't know if they or social media, David, the word of the year is what?
Rage bait. Rage bait is all the rage, as it were. It's the Oxford English Dictionary always has a word of the year, and last year it was we were saying it was Riz one year, wasn't it?
Riz,
which is
charisma.
Exactly. Rage bait is a bit like clickbait. Have I got this right? Clickbait.
Somewhat.
So rage bait is where you say something deliberately to get a rise from people to get them angry.
Yeah.
And you see it on social media.
Yeah, and you're trying to cause somebody to comment on your video by maybe deliberately leaving something out or saying something that's deliberately controversial, and then that in turn
winding up with friends. If you have something you know your friend doesn't like you picking on, maybe you pick on that. But it's also on social media, so it might be something political, right? So if I post something saying a man can't become a woman, that might be rage baiting because you know it's going to annoy a lot of people.
Second and third words, very quickly, are aura farming.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the careful curation of a cool or enigmatic public image. And the other one is...
Trying to look cool online, basically,
And the other one is biohack, which is the increasingly fashionable pursuit of enhanced health or performance through lifestyle tweaks or technology.
So that's trying to keep yourself young,
Don't use any of them, but anyway, there we go. Staying with politics, the politician Tulip Siddiq, this Bangladeshi court sentence to her 2 years in jail if she turns up in Bangladesh, David, which means that she won't turn up in Bangladesh, I would imagine.
No, and there's no extradition treaty with Bangladesh, and she obviously denies these charges and says that it's the system over there that's corrupt. The story is that her aunt, she used her influence as a politician in order to obtain plots of land inside the diplomatic zone of Dakar, the city there, and her aunt was Prime Minister over there, who was also being jailed for corruption. And she was involved in it. So it's quite a complicated issue, but it's very strange that the former Minister for Anti-Corruption in the UK has been convicted of 2 years in prison for corruption charges.
Well, just to say, of course, she denies any of those allegations. She says she wasn't aware of them until she read about them in the newspaper, and she says it's kangaroo court. Chloe, what do you think?
Yes, she denies all of this, and look, the situation politically in Bangladesh is complicated, and many of us won't understand all the details. But I think what's really embarrassing is that you've got this Labour government that has had so many resignations, and often quite ironic ones, where you've got an anti-corruption minister having to resign because of corruption charges. Yes, she may deny them, but that's quite ironic. And then you've got the homelessness minister, who then had to resign because she evicted her own tenants and put the rent up by 700 quid. And then you had Angela Rayner, housing minister, should of anyone know how to pay the correct stamp duty, couldn't figure that out and missed out 40 grand.
It's not a good look, is it,
David?
Not
a good look, no. And now you've got the Chancellor of the Exchequer, whose grasp of economics is being economical with the truth.
Chloe, let's have a look at this major pharmaceuticals deal, shall we, that the US and the UK have come to. Seems to be a good deal for the US because you get the tariff-free British drugs.
You've got less than a minute, don't you?
What does it mean for Britain?
Well, it's debatable whether this is going to make us money, because we can sell more drugs to the US, but we are going to be spending more money on drugs for UK patients. That might mean they get better care, but it's going to cost the taxpayer about 3 billion quid extra a year, and there was no extra funding announced for that at the budget.
David, what do you think?
Good for British pharmaceutical exports, because we won't be paying tariffs at the other end, so possibly good for jobs. It's on the one hand, on the other hand issue, really. So the main thing is if the patients get the drugs that they need in this country.
But as you say, that extra £3 billion got to be found, and it wasn't outlined in the budget, was it?
No.
Well, stay in good health, the both of you. Thank you for today. Really appreciate what you've contributed. Thank you very much indeed. Come back and see us again sometime.
Yeah, let us know what you think on any of those stories. gbnews.com/yoursay. We'll try and share as many as we can throughout the programme. But for now, let's check on the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update, brought to you from the Met Office. Now, although today will be a drier day, there's still a fair few blustery showers on the way for many western areas. Some sunshine in between, and we've got off to a pretty bright start across the east, and there will be more sunshine on the way for many eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see a plethora of showers moving in from the Atlantic. Some of these will really pack a punch, bringing a risk of hail and thunder, particularly to the south and west. But notice some very heavy showers across the northwest too. Now, temperatures are a degree or so cooler than yesterday, but it will feel that much more pleasant, particularly in any sheltered sunshine across the east. Now, the winds will be quite strong, particularly across northwestern areas close to this small area of low pressure. So that brings an unsettled evening to parts of the Highlands and the Western Isles in particular, where we'll continue to see these showers moving in through this evening. Eastern areas of Scotland, the central belt, seeing plenty of dry weather, some clearer skies developing through this evening, as well as across Northern Ireland. The temperatures will start to fall away. Still quite a lot of cloud around for many central and southern areas of England and Wales, and a number of showers still yet to move through on Tuesday evening. They could come further inland across eastern areas for a time, but overnight tonight it will become clearer and drier for many areas. There will still be a number of showers, particularly across coastal areas, western coasts of the UK. So here there'll be more cloud, will be frost free, but inland sheltered areas could see a touch of frost frost by Wednesday morning, so a cooler start to the day on Wednesday than today, but more in the way of sunshine to come. A fairly settled day actually for eastern areas. A very different story though for northern Scotland, where this rain will turn to snow over the highest ground. Further south, a mixture of sunshine and showers, particularly across the west, but more in the way of drier weather to come on Wednesday compared to today. And as a result, temperatures will climb to the double digits, 10 or 11 degrees across southwestern areas. See you soon.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 8 million followers across social media. Thank you for making us a part of your daily life.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Currently, the M4 westbound is heavily congested from junction 25 at Caerleon to junction 26 at Malpas, causing significant delays. North Yorkshire travellers face 30-minute delays on the A64 eastbound. An incident on the M40 southbound in Oxfordshire closes one lane with up to an hour delay. In Surrey, the M25 anti-clockwise faces a 10-minute delay due to congestion. And on the trains, Great Western Railway is disrupted, with buses replacing trains between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping £85,000 in tax-free cash. The largest cash prize we've given away to date. That's like over £7,000 a month extra in your bank account each month for 12 whole months. That's a year of yes. Yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to shopping trips, yes to home improvements. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. The Chancellor clings to power as the OBR chief resigns over the budget leak. It's been branded the worst failure in the organisation's history. Well, amid the fallout, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch is accusing the Chancellor of using Richard Hughes as a human shield.
Fact is, this has now turned into a political crisis for the Prime Minister and his Chancellor. This is a classic example of do as I say, not do as I do.
Well, there are now demands for the release of all correspondence between the Chancellor and Mr Hughes. Elsewhere, the Justice Secretary David Lammy admits that 12 prisoners have been released accidentally in the past 3 weeks. This comes ahead of his upcoming announcement to scrap thousands of jury trials, arguing that courts cannot cling to juries simply for the sake of tradition.
Everything I'm announcing today is about centering victims in our criminal justice system.
And GB News reporter Isabel Fekulak is at Horsham for us this morning at the Holbrook Animal Rescue that I visited 3 years ago.
Well, I'm here next to Freddie, who was once known as Britain's loneliest dog, and now even the shelter that's housed him for up to 14 years is at risk.
Unfortunately, had to lose his life before the police took any action.
The daughter of murdered dog walker Bim Coley says his death could have been prevented. She blames a series of police failures.
Hello, good morning. After a very wet start to the week, there's drier weather to come through the rest of this week, but there's still a risk of showers. You can find out all the details with me a little later on.
Good morning, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. And to our top story this morning, the Chancellor clings to power as the OBR chief resigns less than a week after the budget announcement. Richard Hughes said in his resignation letter to Rachel Reeves and the chair of the Treasury Select Committee that he wants to ensure that the OBR gets the chance to quickly move on from this regrettable incident. Well, the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, has accused the Chancellor of using Mr Hughes as a human shield and has called on Rachel Reeves to resign. Let's speak now to our chief political correspondent, Katherine Forster, who joins us now. Katherine, what do you make of it all?
Well, Richard Hughes felt he had no choice but to resign because ultimately he is the head of the Office for Budget Responsibility, and it was quite extraordinary to be able to read pretty much everything in the budget an hour before we were supposed to be able, 2 hours before actually, because it shouldn't be till after the Chancellor sits down. So I think this is not surprising, although I think it's also true that there's now a lot of bad blood between the Office for Budget Responsibility and the Treasury, and between Richard Hughes and the Chancellor in particular, because although it was very annoying for the Treasury that this was leaked ahead of time accidentally, things were made much worse for Rachel Reeves because the OBR very helpfully, not helpfully for the Treasury, but helpfully for all of us for transparency, published the exact details of what the forecasts were that were given to Rachel Reeves and when. So he has gone, but, you know, Kemi Badenoch saying he's been used as a human shield. Nigel Farage, a Reform leader, saying the wrong person has resigned. He is calling for the OBR to publish all the correspondence between them and the Chancellor. And still a lot of pressure on the Chancellor now. The Prime Minister said yesterday there had been no misleading, but the fact of the matter is that they talked about this downgrade in productivity, painted a very, very gloomy picture. And the reality was that when Rachel Reeves stood at that breakfast press conference, they knew that actually they had a £4.2 billion buffer because they had, the IFS said, stonking tax receipts that offset that downgrade. So they told us part of the truth, but they certainly didn't tell us the whole truth. And I think that is politically extremely difficult because it all comes down to trust. And we know that trust in politicians is already very low. And I think this has sent it to an even lower level.
And the Prime Minister's really got no choice, has he, than to say, oh, nothing to see here, nothing wrong has happened here, because the two of them are tied together like Japanese knotweed, aren't they? There's no escaping the fact that the two are politically tied to one another. But then when you've got a situation where, and it depends on your reading of the situation, whether you've misled the public or lied to the public, as you say, it erodes trust, and trust already at such a low level.
Well, yes, and this is a government that before the last general election promised, I think it was only about £8 billion of tax rises. They were going to be very limited, VAT on private school fees, non-DOMs. They said all the money for everything else was going to come from growth. The growth projections are pretty lacklustre, and we have had the two biggest tax-raising budgets since the 1970s, a combined £66 billion of tax rises, largely falling, certainly this time, on working people, the working people that they previously said they were going to protect. Now, they can argue all they like about that they didn't breach the manifesto because they didn't put the rates up. I personally think that is dancing on the head of a pin. Working people's taxes have gone up. Now, they can make an argument for it, but it does seem that they have been, I think, disingenuous is the kindest word I could use.
Elsewhere, can we look at the Justice Secretary, David Lammy, who has admitted that 12 prisoners have been released accidentally in the past 3 weeks. What's happened here?
Yes, so there's been another 12 released since, I think, the beginning of November. 2 of them are still at large. Now, he has said that the trend is going downwards. He says some improvements have been put in place, but there were 91 accidental releases between the beginning of April and the end of October. And the reality is that this is actually happening all the time, but we don't know about it because we don't hear about it. We heard because the very high-profile case of the asylum seeker who had been jailed for assaulting a teenage girl that had led to the protests outside the Bell Hotel in Epping. He had been accidentally released and cue absolute uproar about that. But very, very worrying. We have a justice system clearly creaking at the seams, and that, of course, the reason why David Lammy, today we expect, is going to reduce the use of juries.
And GB News viewers are very alarmed by this, Katherine. I mean, we saw in the response to our poll this morning, it was something like 94% said that this isn't something that should be happening, the scrapping of jury trials. Only 6% are in favour. Why has he now changed his mind, David Lammy? Because he once said this was a really important part of democracy, having a jury trial, and now it appears that he doesn't think it's an expectation that we need to rely on.
Well, we'll hear more details from him at lunchtime, but he is saying that basically juries are important and that it's because he wants to protect them. But it sounds like they will be used for the most serious cases only, so rape, murder, manslaughter, things that are likely to have a 5-year jail sentence. He's basically saying that it's to reduce this backlog. There's 80,000 people, cases waiting to be heard. He said we've got victims waiting years, and that is unacceptable. So they're announcing another 500 million for support for victims. And he wants to speed the whole thing up. So it sounds like what's going to happen is these either way cases where previously people had the right to choose to be tried in a magistrate's court or in a Crown Court with a jury, that those are going to be tried by a single judge. And of course, worth saying that most cases are not tried by a jury. They are already in the minority, but I think there will be a lot of alarm by many people.
Yeah, well, let us know what you think on that one, gbnews.com/you'll-say. Katherine, thank you very much indeed. Well, Katherine and I were just referring to today's You Decide poll, and you can take part in our You Decide poll by just becoming a friend of GB News. You can do that for free by going onto the website, gbnews.com. Then all you need to do is scan the QR code on your screens now. And the question we're asking today is scrapping juries a price worth paying for swift justice? Well, 6% of you so far saying yes, it would be worth it. 94% of you saying no, it wouldn't. So do continue to take part in our You Decide poll today. Now, just coming up to almost 9:10, and the daughter of a dog walker who was attacked by teenagers in a park last year says there were multiple police failures leading up to his death. Bim Coley was killed walking his dog in Leicester last September, but had reported multiple incidents of antisocial behaviour against him in the months before he died. Our national reporter Jack Carson has the story.
My dad, unfortunately, had to lose his life before the police took any action.
In September last year, Bim Coley walked his dog into Franklin Park in Braunstone, Leicester. He would never come home. Kicked and punched by a 15-year-old boy, whilst a 13-year-old girl laughed and filmed the attack on her phone, Mr. Coley sustained fractured ribs and a spinal cord injury and died 24 hours later. Now his daughter Susan says failures by Leicestershire police in the months leading up to his death mean it could have been avoided. A pattern of antisocial behaviour began in June 2024, when youths climbed onto a neighbour's garage roof. In July, the harassment escalated, when youths spat at Mr. Coley outside his home. In August, another man was attacked in the park. Susan and her father caught youths throwing stones at the victim, subjecting him to racial abuse and spitting at him. The suspects were identified within 2 days, but no arrests were made until after Bim Coley's death, 17 days later.
They chose to just sit on it and not take the action that they should have when they identified 2 youths causing trouble. When you put a police presence in the area, that puts a deterrent in place because it moves that behaviour on.
The force's own guidance says arrests should be made at the earliest practical opportunity, but the investigating officer blamed workload and a bank holiday. The loss of her father lives with Susan every day, but she believes the attack on him could have happened to anyone.
There's not a day that goes past that we think about it, especially with what happened, because it is a constant reminder for us because of where it happened, virtually on our doorstep, yards from where we live. This might not have been my dad that lost his life. It might have been that guy on the 17th of August. He could have been seriously assaulted if me and my dad did not intervene.
The IOPC investigation concluded there were no missed opportunities and found no individual misconduct. In a statement, Leicestershire Police said, "We only became aware of the full extent of the antisocial behaviour in the area following Mr Coley's death as a result of the extensive major crime investigation. Although there were some reported incidents of antisocial behaviour in the area, there were no offenders consistently involved and therefore no evidence of a pattern of behaviour prior to Mr Coley's death." But Susan says accountability must be taken.
People can only learn when you take accountability. It's accepting what went wrong and making that change to ensure it doesn't happen again.
The tragic death of Bim Coley shocked his community and the country. Now his daughter Susan is determined to fight on in his memory. Jack Carson, GB News, Leicester.
Shocking story.
It's awful.
30 minutes past 9 o'clock. We'll lighten the mood now because we're going to do you a favour.
Yep, this is our new Great British giveaway, £85,000 up for grabs. Here are all of the details that you need.
It's the greatest cash prize of the Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, up next, we're out and about in our travels. We're in a place called Horsham, and you've already been there. We're at a rescue centre, an animal rescue centre, the Holbrook Animal Rescue Centre.
Yeah, I was there. I was talking to you there 3 years ago. So this was when I was the South of England reporter for GB News, and I met Freddie, who at the time was being described as the UK's loneliest dog because he couldn't be adopted, and that's what the Holbrook Animal Rescue does. It tries to get animals adopted, and Freddie's still there, I believe.
The thing about dogs, I'm going to say this to you, and I'll say it over and over again: adopt, don't shop.
Yeah.
Adopt, don't shop.
Well, hopefully somebody can adopt Freddie, but actually we're going to be talking to Isabel, our reporter there at Holbrook Animal Rescue, because it looks like they may have to close in order to make way for a housing development. So we're going to be talking to her about that next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in a chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Now we're going to talk about Holbrook Animal Rescue Centre because it's in trouble. It's fighting to survive.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because the charity has been caring for and rehoming abandoned animals for 30 years. And they have a really close relationship with GB News because 3 years ago, when I was the South of England reporter for GB News, I paid them a visit. And at the time, I was covering the UK's loneliest dog, Freddie, who was up for adoption. Let's take a look.
He is 9 years old and he's been here for the past 9 years, and let me tell you, he has been such a good boy today. He's actually getting quite cold out here, so we've wrapped him in his blanket, but he is such a lovely boy. We're going to give him some ham.
Well, no, that is lovely, and that was 3 years ago, and that is Freddie, but Freddie's still there, isn't he?
Don't, it breaks my heart. Isabel Fekulak, our GB News reporter, is there for us. Morning to you, Isabel, and Freddie is still there.
Yes, morning. Freddie's still here. He's next to me now and he's being a good boy as well this morning. He's getting on now. He's about 13 years old and he's been here for most of his life at Holbrook Animal Rescue. But now Holbrook Animal Rescue is being forced to relocate, and if they aren't able to find somewhere to relocate, they could even be at risk of closing. And I'm joined now by Cliff Santini, who runs the shelter alongside Laura. Could you tell us a bit more about the situation that you're in currently?
Yeah, of course. We need to move, and we put planning application in to move to a field we own. We got turned down. Horsham Council turned us down, so we're now in an appeal process. So we have 8 months maybe to wait to find out the result, and if it's a negative, we've got a risk. We may be closing down.
So what kind of site is it that you were looking to relocate to, and why aren't you able to relocate to that field?
It's a field in Southwater, which is south of where we are now, and it's about 10 acres, same as we've got here, and it's perfect. It's in a semi-rural location, no neighbours for miles in any direction, but the council seem to think it's inappropriate development.
And the community have given you a lot of support in this mission to find a new location. What kind of support have you been getting?
Well, the council sent, the locals sent in a petition to the council. 1,000 people wrote into the council to say that we should be, as an amenity, we should be saved. Seems to have landed on deaf ears.
And what kind of impact could the relocation and the possible closure have on both the animals here and the community as well?
Well, the locals have been used to us for 25 years plus, and I think it would be a shame that after all this time that Horsham will lose a valued amenity.
And will it affect kind of the animals? Freddie's been here most of his life. How will he deal with the relocation or even closure?
It will be devastating, because what do we do with all the animals? Who's going to care for them? You know, normally they go to a rescue centre. We are the rescue centre. They're at risk. It's sad.
And Freddie here, as I said, he's 13 years old now, we think, and he's been here most of his life. He's tried to be relocated a couple times. And I know, Ellie, when you were here before, you were hoping that one of our GB News viewers might have been the match for him, but unfortunately not. He is still here, and now even the place that he has called his home for nearly 14 years is at risk.
Oh, it's just so sad. Well, hopefully somebody is watching and listening who loves little Freddie and would love to give him a home.
Him if I could
Eamonn
move
said he'd have him.
Chair, but I can't move from this chair. I can't look after myself. Never mind the dog. Isabel, who is the council? Who should they? Or they should be hanging their head in shame.
Yes, it's Horsham Council, isn't it?
Horsham District Council. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they've had over 1,000 letters from the community in support.
Well, let's hope they listen, Isabel. Thank you so much for bringing that to us, and say hi to little Freddie for me.
Okay. And remember,
Will do. Thank you.
Don't shop.
Yeah, good message.
Okay. Which is how we've got Andrew Pearce and Miriam as well.
Are you adopting us onto your show?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What have you got for us this morning, you two?
Well, we've got a fascinating interview with a bricklayer who went viral, Don Daniels.
I know the one.
The budget.
Shoveling the snow.
Exactly. Saying that he's working hard to pay for other people's benefits. We've got him online.
Very good.
Talking about how many children under the age of 5 are using social media.
And why?
Shocking.
And why? I'm sorry, Mum and Dad, it's your fault.
Well, we'll have all that after your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, although today will be a drier day, there's still a fair few blustery showers on the way for many western areas. Some sunshine in between, and we've got off to a pretty bright start across the east, and there will be more sunshine on the way for many eastern areas. Further west, though, you can see a plethora of showers moving in from the Atlantic. Some of these will really pack a punch, bringing a risk of hail and thunder, particularly to the south and west. But notice some very heavy showers across the northwest too. Now, temperatures are a degree or so cooler than yesterday, but it will feel that much more pleasant, particularly in any sheltered sunshine across the east. Now, the winds will be quite strong, particularly across northwestern areas close to this small area of low pressure. So that brings an unsettled evening to parts of the Highlands and the Western Isles in particular, where we'll continue to see these showers moving in through this evening. Eastern areas of Scotland, the central belt, seeing plenty of dry weather, some clearer skies developing through this evening, as well as across Northern Ireland. The temperatures will start to fall away. Still quite a lot of cloud around for many central and southern areas of England and Wales, and a number of showers still yet to move through on Tuesday evening. They could come further inland across eastern areas for a time, but overnight tonight it will become clearer and drier for many areas. There will still be a number of showers, particularly across coastal areas, western coasts of the UK. So here there'll be more cloud, will be frost-free, but inland sheltered areas could see a touch of frost by Wednesday morning. So a cooler start to the day on Wednesday than today, but more in the way of sunshine to come. A fairly settled day actually for eastern areas. A very different story though for northern Scotland, where this rain will turn to snow over the highest ground. Further south, a mixture of sunshine and showers, particularly across the west, but more in the way of drier weather to come on Wednesday compared to today. And as a result, temperatures will climb to the double digits, 10 or 11 degrees across southwestern areas. See you soon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making us the fastest growing news website in the nation, because the truth matters, and so do you.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. In North Yorkshire on the A64 eastbound between Tadcaster West and the A1237 near York South, expect 30-minute delays today. In Worcestershire, a collision on the M42 northbound between junctions 2 and 3 has closed one lane, with conditions normalising by 10:15 this morning. In Surrey, near the M25 anti-clockwise exit at junction 13, a breakdown has blocked one lane, expected to clear by 9:45 this morning. And on the trains, expect major disruption on Thameslink services between London St Pancras International and London Bridge, and Avanti West Coast services between London Euston and Watford Junction. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Martin Daubney.